Obi-Wan Kenobi contends with the consequences of his greatest defeat, the downfall and corruption of his one-time friend and apprentice Anakin Skywalker, who turned to the dark side as an evil Sith Lord Darth Vader. Yes, we're talking about Obi-Wan today on Geeks with Kids. Let's do this!
Anyway, well, I'm getting my testicles laminated.
Yeah, the good thing is the doctor said it wasn't contagious.
You just stole my fucking joke.
I know, because you did during the title sequence.
Wow.
He's the host.
But the better part is they're naming it after you.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, they are naming it after Dave, so, you know, friendship. No. Yeah, so, welcome to Geeks with Kids, the geeky podcast from a parenting point of view. Not really. It's just a geeky podcast. We are a week late, but for good reason, because we're talking about Obi-Wan today. Joining me are Dave, Steve, Marcus, and Brent, and Hawk. Did I miss you, Hawk? Or did I jump over you? Oh, man,
almost.
I feel so bad. Sorry. How's it going, guys?
Good.
All right.
Excited?
I was a lot better before you fucked me at the start of this podcast.
Well, I wanted to make you feel good before you start talking about some lightsabers and other stuff that don't make sense.
I'm just making sure we can't monetize on YouTube at any point by making like the third word I say fuck.
No, that's fine. It's fine. We're already intended for mature audiences, so swearing is okay on this. Yeah. Yeah, it's fine. It's fucking fine.
Yeah, except for the occasional thing that I say that needs to be bleeped out, but that's okay.
Well,
oh yeah, that let's not go into that today, Steve. I tried the bleep button on my Go XLR and it only mutes me. It only bleeps me, which does not help.
No.
That doesn't help anything. So
he just turned it up really loud.
Right.
So
Or maybe I need to set up one for myself. That would actually be pretty hilarious.
that would be really funny.
yeah.
Ryan.
I need to put an auto bleep like bot on you. That's all.
That's
so
fair.
everyone's doing well. Fuck this series. The finale. I'm pretty sure I was texting Marcus throughout the ending. I'm just like, oh my god, it's happening, guys. And then I cried a little bit. You saw it on stream. It was cool.
No, cool. I'm curious to hear what you said because my drunken.
Were you not there?
Reactions.
No.
Shorted
out his ability to form memories.
Yeah. I actually completely forgot the last two episodes. I had to just rewatch them now, and my stream of consciousness is in the Discord there, but I missed your excited. That would have been fun to. Yeah,
I saw that stream of Discord, verbal Discord. After the fact, like later that night, I was like, Hawk, I think Dave broke Steve over on Discord.
It happens.
Yeah, it does
I
happen.
heard.
What
That's what happens when I
I
try and break Steve's brain.
Yeah, but anyways, let's start with like how we normally do and see what we're liking. Like one or two things. I don't care. I like learning what you guys are doing. Brent, what's good? What's your yum, sir? What's your yum?
I mean, like I got two yums. The one we already kind of talked about ahead of time. I hit my first goal on Twitch today of hitting 200 followers, which was an awesome little
nice.
milestone.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice.
Cheers.
So that was really cool. The whole video production thing I'm doing on there is really starting to garner attention and bring
the
a lot of
hot
people
tub
out to watch
streams,
more.
you know.
Oh god, yeah. Well, mostly because I keep my shirt on during those. Nobody sees
Hot tub meta.
these titties jiggle jiggle wiggle wiggle.
I don't know. The chat seems to disagree about that.
I disagree.
No,
It's about life is about the potential for nudity.
That's true.
You know?
That's true. That's
True.
fair. He keeps the headphones on. That's what's important.
Well, yeah, I gotta wear these big fuckers now because my stupid fucking Beats died on me last week. I'm really upset about that. $300 fucking headphones in the trash.
Don't buy Beats.
Don't
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I had no idea Beats was so expensive. Oh wow, okay.
They're cheaper now. When I bought them 2 years ago. These ones cost me, I think, $280. Now they're about $200. So,
Are you looking?
Still,
are you gonna get wired ones now that you're streaming more? Like,
probably.
Yeah,
I need I need wireless pair just for general use, like especially for the gym. Because apparently I threw out all my earbuds. I learned that when I tried to go to the gym and couldn't fucking listen to music.
Audio Technica MX50. Wait, MX50? Yeah, I think that's the one. Go for those. Wired.
Not sponsored. This is not
sponsored. Although we did get sponsored a while ago for some microphones. I don't remember that.
Yeah, they gifted us some microphones.
6 microphones? Nice. I don't know who I gave those out to.
I know I got one.
You got
I
one.
didn't get any.
I can get you.
I
I don't know. Maybe I gave one to Shouse and I gave one to Matt
Moore.
Moore.
One of your favorites.
I gave one to the ones that were there at the time.
I don't think I was on the podcast then.
Yeah, that was EGLX 20. That was when you joined.
That's the time we actually. That's the time I
joined.
met you at the EGLX. Actually, David.
Yeah. Next time, I'll talk to them next time again. Yeah. Sorry, what's the other thing?
So then the other yum. This one came out of nowhere for me. So I retroactively, we did our Games of the Year segment last year, and I've retroactively changed mine because I discovered a game that came out in December. I didn't discover it till February, Eterna Noctis, which was one of the hardest games I've ever played. Definitely the hardest game I've ever beaten. But it became just an obsession of mine. I fucking loved it. It was just so great in so many ways. And then I found out last week that they were making a sequel. Not only were they making a sequel, but it's already out on early release. They've already put it out on early access. They've changed the genre from Metroidvania to a roguelike. It's called Summa Materna. So I decided, I'll give it a try and see how it is. It's already on track to be one of my games of the year. Like, it is giving me the same joy I had when I played Hades for the first time. Like, it is
that's high praise.
Much fun. It's you can tell it's early access. There's not a lot to it. There's only two main levels, 2 bosses. It's beautiful. Like, the art style is absolutely gorgeous. It is stunningly beautiful. Fluid controls already. Like, it controls like a dream.
What's it called, Brent? What's it
Summa
called?
Materna. SUMMUM. Aeterna. AETERNA. But you can already tell like what they're going to be adding into it, what they've already added. Like, it is insanely replayable. I sat down to do a stream of it, expecting to try it for like maybe an hour or 2. I was streaming it for about 7 hours, and as soon as I got off, I continued playing it for another 6 hours just to keep leveling up and keep getting the new stuff, keep trying the new levels.
Nice.
It is. Fucking like it's hands down my favorite roguelike of the year, at least.
Link on Twitch.
It's so good, so good.
Cool. I look forward. I just loaded it up on my wish list, so I'm gonna look it up later.
I think like the full release won't be for another year and a half. They said probably like fall 2024. They're expecting, but they're releasing new content at least once every month or 2. They're already announced that there's an update coming in July with new levels, new NPCs, new weaponry. I'm like, holy shit! Like they're fast tracking this. This is only 6 months after the first game came out. And it's already like an almost fully polished game.
Did you? I feel like this game was a game you would like. Did you ever end up playing The Forest?
I haven't played it. Because there were so many other games that were like it at the time that I just couldn't be bothered. Because I think I was playing Green Hell at the time, and I was like, I don't know if I particularly like the genre, and then The Forest came along, and I was like, it seems very similar. I'm not sure I really want to play it, but
it's fun.
I believe I own it.
It's multiplayer, so if ever I install it again, I'll let you know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have it on. I'm pretty sure I have it on PlayStation.
I was told I should install Ark, so by someone here.
I have
many
that.
times.
It's another one I just didn't play because of.
It's also free on Steam.
And
right
I'll
now.
probably set up a server for it next week.
Yeah,
so it'll be available to Geeks with Kids people.
Nice.
And also for anyone who wants some nostalgia kick, the new Ninja Turtles is on Game Pass.
It's so good.
It's fucking fun.
Shredder's Revenge, right?
Yeah, it's very good.
Oh my god,
it's on sale on Steam
too. The
too.
entire game in one sitting. It was so much fun. Just brought me right back to the TMN2 arcade game nostalgia.
That was definitely one of those standout moments when the arcade game like left an impact and everyone was like, oh, I can't wait to buy this on whatever console. Like it was like right at that period, but it was such a solid arcade game that you'd be like, you know what? I'm willing to actually go to the machine and play it with friends.
It was so good playing it on
one of the last ones.
Yeah. And now that was it 1UP, they've made a miniaturized version of it too. Just want to buy it, but I'm not because it's expensive. All right, cool, Brent. That's awesome.
That's like 3 yums for me. So move on.
I'm gonna move on to Marcus. Marcus, what's your yum? What are you yum?
Oh yeah. There hasn't been much. I have been very busy with life. Unfortunately, there's been a few losses in our families, both mine and my wife's families.
Sorry to hear that.
So we've kind of had to deal with quite a bit of family stuff.
Yeah.
So I haven't been able to really do any kind of enjoyment things, but I got a package the other day from a company that, Eric knows the situation of what happened with our dark sabers.
God damn.
Oh, the dark sabers. That's apropos.
So while that whole situation was god awful, and the company, who I'm not going to slam here, but I will probably just do my own slamming as
we have in
review.
previous episodes to look it up.
We do. So I mean, you can.
I could later when I do my stuff.
Sure. Okay. All right. That sounds good. But I mean, I finally did get the replacement items, some of which I was really excited about. I got a couple of figures and stuff, but what I'm really excited to show is my Wild Stallions figures, Bill and Ted.
Excellent.
These are super awesome, and it comes with like the actual phone booth. Like it's a paper fold out kind of thing, but you can get the phone booth. It's
brilliant,
awesome. So I'm really excited about that. And then the Electric Mayhem band.
Nice. That looks amazing.
Oh.
These were the two things that, like, out of everything I was like waiting for, I was really excited about those.
I almost got that one too.
Oh, there's your Rolf, Eric.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the only bit of excitement I've had, other than pulling weeds and breaking my back.
Yeah, so I was on Reddit looking up that toy company that shall remain unnamed right now, I guess. And yeah. It is.
Did you find a good subreddit that just
it's not just them, but there's a various like collecting ones, obviously.
Oh wow!
But like the black,
red flagged.
But like the Black Series red sub. What the hell? Where's this music coming from? But the Black Series subreddit is a bunch. Like there's just a bunch of people being like, "Don't pre-order from this company." Why? Why is this happening? Who is it? I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I think it's Dave.
The guilty looking one.
The only thing on screen is his shifty eyes.
Sus. That's old.
Oh, there's the shifty eyes. Yeah.
It doesn't work super well with the background.
With the background, I know. One day. You got to lower it a little bit too.
No, it caught him.
No, he has to go up.
That was good. Now it's disappeared. It worked the first time.
Yeah.
I just have to like go really fast between the two and then get on the seizure.
Good Lord. All right. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you got this stuff, and maybe one day. Yeah. I ordered like 2 weeks before you too.
I know.
Oh, you still haven't gotten your replacement?
No.
Oh my God. You got a Darksaber from somewhere else, right?
I got a Darksaber from somewhere else. And like they gave me a credit, and then I ordered all my shit, and then I was like, Marcus, this is what happened with mine. And then he's like, okay, I guess I'm going to get the credit too. And then you ordered your stuff, and then you got your stuff, which is nice. But I'm going to start emailing him every 3 days now.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah,
absolutely do it.
Just because.
Like they had the audacity to send me a message saying like, please leave us a positive review on Google. And I'm like, no.
When they do that to me, I will say,
wait.
I will
Can
leave
you do me a favor?
one.
On my show, I do 1-star reviews as a redemption. Could you go write one and I will read it during one of them?
Yes.
I even have a backdrop and everything for it here. Like,
amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That was good.
Classic tales of 1-star reviews. Yes.
Nice.
I will.
Brand, I salute you.
Here's the beginning of my 1-star review. If I could give lower than 1, I would. If I could give negative, I'd jump at the fact.
If I could take stars away from other people's reviews,
I would.
So.
It's funny because like there's a bunch of Google reviews that have been taken down that were like 1 stars and stuff, which is really sketchy. Anyway.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah. So let's move over to more sketchiness. Steve, what's good?
My more sketchiness. All right, so for once I actually have some positives, I guess. I don't know. So recently there's been some news on Dark Tide, which is by the programmers of Vermintide, and it's starting to look kind of okay. And despite my issues with Games Workshop, I'm willing to support this other company. So I have decided, although I make a lot of plans and I announce them all the time, and then don't do them, I am going to try to relearn how to use my mouse and keyboard for shooters because I want to play this game and I don't want to wait till it comes out. So that's kind of a pre-yum if I can actually get my ass in gear, which I actually made this plan.
Controller support for it?
Yeah, but I've been kind of wanting to get back into the boomer shooter sort of scene. Like
that's the way
PC stuff, because there's so many like cube boomer shooters, you know, like, and I don't know, it's kind of like this weird intangible goal for me because I've been having.
No, you could do it. You got it.
Anyway, so now I have a hard target because Dark Tide doesn't come out till September, so gonna try. Anyway, the other I do have one other yum. I did some Kijiji. Really thankful I didn't get rolled as I was walking down the street with my little bag full of expensive stuff. I bought some IEMs, which is what is it, in-ear monitors, which I can't explain how that's different from.
Why are you getting in-ear monitors?
Well, I saw a guy who listed like a whole bunch of them at once, so I could tell that he was someone like me who has like an obsessive compulsive issue. And I was like, I already did the coupon, I already did the keyboards, and I'm doing the mice, and I did the headphones. I need yet another compulsion. I want to try IEMs. So I bought several IEMs from him, and they're pretty cool. But I don't have earphones, you know? So, I mean, earbuds. I have lots of earphones. Anyway, whatever. I wasted a lot of money, but, you know, this is where I'm at. And, yeah, it's cool. I don't know. It's something fun. I probably didn't need all that. But anyway, that's my yum. So there you go.
Right on.
The chat is showing up on mine, too.
Oh, is it? It's only showing up on mine. I just assume it's because of where I'm positioned that's where the chat comes up on the screen.
Yeah. On thing. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, like above my head it says the live show.
Yeah. I could only fit so much. Yeah. In-ear monitors are great when you do concerts and mixing and stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I guess to explain, this is another rabbit hole amongst the other three I mentioned that I've fallen down, which is a total waste of money. I'm not going to debate that.
Wait, how many IEMs did you get?
4.
4?
One is going to be a gift, though. So apparently, and I fully admit this is just another money dump, and I could be an idiot, but apparently the difference is that IEMs have more.
They're flat response. Right.
There's a lot more to handle the different levels of sound, right? As opposed to just standard earbuds, which have like one speaker, right?
Standard earbuds generally boost various signals as well, right? So
yeah. There's nothing wrong with earbuds. Yeah, but in terms of like value for money, because China got involved, right? I got to get my token.
You got to represent.
I got to get my social credit, right? So China started producing really cheap. I'm so fucked. I'm never going to go to Hong Kong after this guy. I'm so screwed. China started producing IEMs, but really cheap, but still decent. So it's completely like altered the personal, casual IEM market because IEMs technically are for musicians, right? I mean, it's so that they can perform on stage and hear what's happening instead of having a speaker pointed at them. And anyway, the technology's gotten to the point now where it's cheap enough that there's a lot of IEMs for everyday people.
I don't think it was a question
money,
of whether the technology could have been cheaper before. I think it was a question of the market, probably, right?
It's totally an audio.
It's not a mass market item, whereas headphones are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's totally an audiophile thing, and I fully admit it's just like the keyboards, just like the mice, just like the headphones. This is my 4th plague, obsessive compulsive undiagnosed ADHD hobby.
Next? Calculators? What should we get them on next?
Oh, no. Calculators. Wait, have you gotten into fountain pens yet?
No, I'm safe. I see those pictures. I see those pictures.
Watches.
Like fountain pens are wonderful, right? Like they're so much fun to write with.
Eric, how many fountain pens do you have?
I have a number of them.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
All right, well, we'll have to talk.
Some of them are in cases. Like this is a wonderful one.
Give me on a little starter kit here.
And you get
give me the elevator pitch on your fountain pen business.
Yes.
So they have some fountain pens that are refillables. You can either get them in cartridge or
I don't quite get the fountain pen meta. But
you can get these refillable cartridges that you just draw from an inkwell.
Oh, you're selling me. You're selling me.
You can just go to the dollar
personalization,
store and you can just buy a pack of pens.
What's even better?
5 of them.
Is you get
they create a lot of plastic waste.
You get the ones with the nibs that are flexible, so they look like calligraphy.
Okay. You're starting to sell me on this.
If you get even fancier pens, you get the offset pens.
Found a niche.
Oh, I like offset. That
the,
always works for me.
Where you get to
offset
insert
headphones, offset keyboards, offset pens. I like it.
You get to insert your own nib every single time.
What kind of podcast is this? What the?
Wow!
It's a podcast about nerd fandoms.
This is you take it. It's taken out of context podcast. Here, you just insert the nib.
This nib, and
just get that ink.
I have to admit,
dip it in every single time. That's so good.
I was just joking about 30 seconds ago, but that off-center nib kind of sold me. So
this is a nice green. What kind of ink is this? This is, I don't know what kind of ink that one is.
I was talking to Steve last week off air about the difference, like the hierarchy of like nerd,
black?
geek, dweek, dorp, and like this is nerd shit because it's like the academic of
it's academic
your
level.
Niche, right? You're going so deep into it.
Oh, and he's got an octagon inkwell.
This is a brown ink that I mixed powder in there.
It's like blood.
Eric, I honestly had no idea. I had no idea you were.
You know what's even better, Steve? I know you like to draw. These offset pens are phenomenal for that.
See, I used to like to draw, and so I will probably buy into the ink meta on the basis that I hope it will make me draw, just like all the shit that I just described. I bought 2 years ago to make me better at gaming, which I have not touched a single mouse or a single keyboard. But
I can literally
I'm getting
see
there.
you. I'm picturing you right now. You're listening to everything he's saying about fountain pens, getting excited. Then you're going to turn, look at your 800 keyboards, and go, "Oh fuck!"
Hey, Steve, have you?
You don't understand addiction.
Like.
Steve,
you don't understand addiction.
Have you ventured on the subreddit fountain pens? Because you should.
Actually, I don't need to because there already is a subreddit.
Eric, this counts as your yum.
No, it doesn't.
I already discovered this subreddit that it's all about keyboards, headphones, and fountain pens, which I find absolutely hilarious that that's a thing. It literally is a thing. And so far, I actually had no interest in the fountain pens. But you're starting to sell me
Does
on it.
Does it have a special name, though?
I don't know. It just shows up on the keyboard one, but I'm sure there must be a name for it. But it's always those specific three, and it's like so elitist.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Hardcroft is in the chat saying, "Guy has like 35 gaming mice, doesn't know how to game with them."
No, sorry, Hardcroft. And I need help. I need help.
And have you gotten into monitors? Hardcroft is asking.
I was looking at a couple more monitors in Kijiji last week, Hardcroft. I'll message you about it. I don't know.
Oh my lord!
I have a spare that I haven't plugged in yet, so I guess true. Yes. Oh, it's bad. It's bad.
This warms my heart.
Okay, can we move on?
Because I end with an episode of Hoarders, right? Like that's the goal. Is just to always be on A&E.
So, Steve, there's a hobby I'm gonna be getting into in a couple months when my
devil sticks.
when my 3D printer comes in. So
Oh, Brent, you bastard.
I know, like that's fancy. A good that's not.
It's a piece of art. I recognize that, but I don't understand it, and I don't want to understand it because then once I do, then it's what David said. It becomes
so that nib is not flexible though, right?
It won't have
the.
What he's looking at.
It won't have the.
Okay, nobody bring up watches. I don't want to know anything about watches.
Oh, I also like watches.
Ooh, I have a big collection of watches actually.
Yes.
Let me go get.
I actually have quite a few pocket watches.
Let me go get the Casio calculator watch my mom got me and my brother
to some yums.
Christmas 2 years ago.
Else's yums.
You know what's also good, Steve? Different glasses. Like I have like new glasses that make me look nerdier, and then there's gaming ones and monitor ones and stuff.
If only we had like a fucking Vessi sponsorship. You know what I like to talk? Shoes.
I have been talking to Vessi because I have a couple of it. I have 2 pairs of Vessis upstairs. We should talk to them.
I have foot pedals from a failed HOTAS rabbit hole. Although I did end up buying 2 or 3, so I guess that still counts.
Do you play Flight Sims?
No, I haven't used any of them yet. I'm a complete failure. But I actually got foot
for
pedals.
when Star Citizen finally releases or whatever it's called, Squadron 42.
He'll be ready by that time.
About 9
but I have the foot pedals, so if we can get the shoe sponsorship, I can put like a cam on my feet in the.
No. If you have the cam down there, you have to go shoeless because that's where you get the views.
No, that's.
It's true
I'd rather
though.
do shoe advertising.
I know.
Feet pushing. I know it's true, but I only want to show my feet in shoes. So sorry, guys.
I think we broke Hardcroft there with the no.
Yeah, I agree with Hardcroft. We'll talk monitors later, Hardcroft. Thanks.
Vessi is a scam. What shoe company only makes up to size 13? No,
Unfortunately, I keep telling you, Harcroft is a giant. Like, he's a giant. There's no other way to put it. They don't. He has to go to special places to buy bigger shoes.
We got to get Harcroft on here one day. Like, we'll just put a video on, like, a picture on top. Like,
he's kind of snuffleupagus at this point. I kind of like it.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, like, he's got a voice,
Really? Actually, I'm not.
Yeah, we've talked to him many times.
Yes, that's true. I forgot.
The no was for talking about monitors. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on.
Dude, it was 2 Dell monitors. Okay, all right, we'll talk about it later.
Well, we'll move on to Hawk. Hawk,
tell us about your designer pants
collection. Hawk's here, you guys? Wow.
Hawk.
I know. Hey,
I put Michael beside your name, and I don't like it. I got to change that in the social.
Just Hawk.
Yeah.
So, yums. Yeah. I haven't gotten into anything too new, so I decided to go binge a couple old series and that I never really caught up on. First up is Atlanta. It's out on Disney Plus right now. Yeah. Yep. It is a very, very watchable show, and that
I don't know what that is. What is that show?
It was created by Donald Glover. Tells his tale of Ern. Is a young man who's trying to be a music manager to his cousin Alfred, who goes by the name Paperboy, and is just starting to cut his rap career is taking off through a hit mixtape he made.
Okay, very interesting.
First 2 seasons kind of deal with trying to get something going for him, and that because like music marketing and sales in this day and age is it's a crazy business, and it's not. Everything's non-traditional anymore in that. The show itself it's like a comedic version of Get Out. It takes place, like, you are seeing the perspective of what it is being black in America. Not so much from the horror angle of Get Out and that, more through the comedic mind of Donald Glover in that. And there are some amazing, like, little side bits in it that just completely fall into the level of absurdity.
The invisible car?
Invisible car.
Okay, that took a weird turn. I was on board until the invisible car. Okay, all right, sure. It kind of touches on this level of like urban myth and that. Anyways, season 3 takes a huge divergent turn in that. It's their tour. Then they do their tour of Europe and that. Half of season 3 actually is mainly short stories that have nothing to do with the 3 main characters, which it's so bizarre. I didn't see it coming in that, and it's eminently watchable. So yeah, if it's on Disney Plus, all 3 seasons are there right now. It took a huge break in that between like season 2 and 3 and that. I guess mainly due to COVID.
Also, Donald Glover was making new music at that time.
Right. Childish Gambino.
This is America, right?
Yeah. Second bingeable series right now is Peaky Blinders. All 6 seasons are on Netflix right now.
Good show.
Yeah.
That was recommended to me recently.
Yeah.
Oh, Brett, you would like it, man. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It focuses on this. It's a fictional family, but a very real gang back in the turn of the century England, and the Peaky Blinders. They came from like this Romany background in that, which for him, they're mainly came
the
up
travelers.
Yeah, the travelers, exactly. They very much keep in touch with relatives. They have their own language and everything. This has to do with a family called the Shelbys and that, where these brothers that all went over to the wars in France and came back and then started building up their little criminal empire. And
when you say the wars, you mean like the Napoleonic Wars?
I mean the World War
One, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
so 1920s.
Yeah, it was described to me as like it's like the early turn of the century gangster show.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like,
Cillian Murphy is
gangster.
Cillian Murphy's such a creepy son of a bitch. I mean, that's amazing.
He's so good.
Thomas Shelby is a feather in the cap of his acting career, and that it's a great character. He's the head of the family, very focused, and even though inside he's dealing with like tons of PTSD, and at the same time having to keep a watch over his brother Arthur, who's fully suffering from PTSD and is just a dangerous maniac.
Well, that sounds really good. I mean, I love period pieces, but like, yeah, Cillian Murphy is one of those guys I'm just like, gotta find like just the perfect role for him because I just find him unsettling, you know.
Yeah.
And
it's those blue
yeah.
eyes of his, right? They just pierce.
That's why Scarecrow
yeah.
is such a good character for him.
Yeah. I mean, such a minor but continuing character, you know, throughout the series, but it really works, you know.
That shows
but
on
the PTSD.
6.
Yeah, that's amazing. 6 seasons. That's
yeah,
fantastic.
unfortunately, season 6. It looks like season 6 will be their final one. Although there's talk of a movie being made.
6 seasons in a movie.
Yeah. And mainly due to the death of Helen McCrory, in that who played Polly in the series, and that she passed away of breast cancer back in 2019. You know, she was a legendary actress. She had the OBE, the Order of Britain, of the British Empire.
Wow.
Yeah. So they had to rewrite season 6 around a lot of that. But they had actually filmed some footage with her in that, which they did incorporate, which was very nice.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
There's also one other show you've been watching that you keep telling me about that I've watched only one episode of on Disney with Andrew Garfield.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna wait for that one because I'll discuss that. I'll use that as my yum after I finish. There's about 3 more episodes to come out. It's called Under the Banner of Heaven, and it's based on a true story. It took place in Utah back in the 80s. It involved some murders that apparently had been influenced by the teachings of the FLDS, the fundamentalist Latter-day Saints.
The Mormons.
Yeah, well, there's Mormons, and then there was fundamentalist Mormons.
Yeah, it's a different.
Yeah, but it's a sect of Mormon.
It was a sect of Mormonism. It was largely rejected by the LDS, and that because it's the one that involved 14-year-old girls being betrothed to 80-year-old men.
Did you say it's a true story?
Yeah, it is a true story.
Yeah. And there's a documentary that's on Netflix called Keep Sweet, Pray and Obey. It's about more scandals with the fundamentalist church of the Latter-day Saints.
So many scandals with them.
Yeah,
there's another one.
Creepy as shit.
There is another one on Netflix, and that I think it takes place back in the 80s, and that true story. What it was about the Latter-day Saints and some bombings that had taken place in Salt Lake City, and that all having to do with letters involving Joseph Smith and the teachings of the church, and these letters that had appeared that actually cast a lot of doubt on the actual fundamentals of the religion, and some people who were basically willing to kill to keep it secret.
Wow. It was all the higher ups of the LSD too, which was crazy. I can't remember what it's called. That was a good one too.
I know, I have to look it up.
I'm watching a lot of religion documentaries.
Fascinating.
They're all crazy. Anyway, all good?
All good.
All right, Dave.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how I follow all those up.
Your exams went well.
I'm not doing anything. I just had 4 midterms. I've got 1 more project to turn in. I'm off this week, and then I start the second half of my next semester next week.
D&D tomorrow.
D&D tomorrow.
D&D.
Yeah, I have a lot because What's up?
How are you finding the pace, keeping up with everything?
The one class. So I have a class that's 12 chapters of learning QuickBooks, and we were initially told this is going to be a bit of a story. It's okay, you have basically you have 5 days to complete a chapter, and then you have 2 days to do the next one, because we only do the class once a week because they were doing the class in double time. Because they decided instead of giving us our full course load for the whole summer, they'd give us this course for the first half and the different course for the second half. So we have 6 hours a week of this class, but 3 of it is online, and the textbook is pretty bad. And it's basically independent work. But then towards the end, the teacher was like, "Oh, just make sure it's all done by this time." And it's not a lot of work. The problem is that you don't know where you go wrong when you turn stuff in, because in real life, if I gave a report to my boss and they were like, "Oh, I wanted a balance sheet, not an income statement," you'd be like, "Oh, just give me 2 seconds. I'll get the other one." In this, it doesn't tell you. It just goes, "You just did this thing wrong." Oh. It doesn't tell you what you need to fix, right? It's just your number could be off by a cent. You could have had an extra letter, because it's all an Excel file you're uploading. So you're like, where the hell did I go wrong? And then you like, if you find your numbers don't match in something, it's like, okay, well, where's this thing? So you can spend like 12 hours trying to find one problem. And because it all carries forward for the way this works, is if you have something wrong in chapter 1, you might screw up something in chapter 7. So it feels like a pass-fail course.
Oof.
So that's been like brutal. And we've actually talked to a lot of my fellow classmates, and we're going to, we'll tell our teachers and stuff this too. That it's genuinely felt like because of this course, our studies and other stuff has suffered. Because we spend most of our time, instead of studying, working on this stuff. Because we're so concerned about it's like, you don't know how important, like maybe I don't need 100% in this course, but when you turn stuff in online, right, it's either like you get 0 or 100 basically. So, but because I don't know what's going to matter later on, I can't afford to not spend the time now making sure it's 100%, right?
Yeah.
So I have 2 chapters left to do. They're due tomorrow at midnight, and a bunch of my other classmates are like, "Oh, that took me 3 days," or like, "I just finished that," or blah blah blah. So we have, that's been really rough.
Wow.
Everything else has been great, like the math, the accounting, whatever. But like, and like QuickBooks is fine software, for the most part. But like the way they try to teach it, it's like our teacher doesn't like instruct us either, right? Like we had classes, but it was mostly just like people asking me how to fix their shit, so I didn't spend time fixing my shit. So that's why I'm behind.
Sounds like multimedia, Eric.
That program.
Don't worry,
wow.
Mohawk just got
Those
rid
are
of their
green.
multimedia, one of their multimedia programs, for something. I know.
I mean,
it was in the Spectator.
I learned some things.
I mean, I'm learning a lot. It's great. But just this thing is like, this is my last crunch, and then I've got what today's, so it's due Tuesday, so then I've got Wednesday to Monday basically to actually chill, and then Tuesday class starts again, and we actually have another class to take the place of this one, which we have no idea when it is or what classroom it's in or what it's about, or if we need
Maybe that's the class.
It's called business reports. So I guess we'll figure that out, because originally it was supposed to be like Tuesday mornings at 8 a.m. Tuesday, and we already have class until 5 p.m. on that day. So we don't know.
Wow.
And Tuesday's the day we go back, and we don't know if we have that class at 8 a.m. or not. We've gotten one email from the professor, and it doesn't exist in our like suite online.
It doesn't even exist.
This isn't what's good. This is what's bad.
Yeah, I was
going to say.
I'm just going to follow that up with my story about a toy company. No.
I mean, once I'm done this, I'm going to enjoy the rest of my
time
off and play some Crusader Kings probably.
Nice.
Good for you.
That's apparently going to show up on Game Pass soon too. Crusader Kings.
It is on
3?
Game Pass, but it's the console version, so it's vanilla.
Oh,
for one. But also, if you play it on Xbox, because you can get it on PlayStation 4 or 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, the console version is different. It's not just the vanilla version. It's also like the UI is different. It plays basically the same.
But you need to control it with controllers. Yeah, I understand.
Not to create a distraction, but I am curious because you have played so much Crusader Kings, and you are the expert amongst all of us.
Expert.
And you
when
use
you
foot
say
pedals with it.
Foot pedals.
You probably could if you. There's not much point.
Nice. Okay, that's all I needed to know. No, I wanted to know when you say vanilla, what is it
DLC.
About? So what does the DLC add?
So the latest DLC is the Fate of Iberia, which is basically adding a bunch of elements to the struggle. They literally created a whole new mechanic called the struggle in Iberia. Iberia being modern day Spain and Portugal.
Okay.
Because when the game takes place, so there's 2 start dates. There's either 867, January 1st, 867, or 1066. And there's the reason those, like 1066 is when William of Normandy invaded England. It's also when Harold Hardrada invaded England. I don't know if people know that there was 2 big, this is important, right? Really big historical dates for Europe. Because that basically meant whether Norway was going to control England or a guy became the king of England, but was technically subservient to the king of France. But that's a whole other thing. So the Muslims had already taken like a lot of the land, probably like 50-60% of the land in Iberia. And then you've got Catholics, you've got I can't remember what sect of Islam it is, and then there's another faith in between called Mozarabic, which this DLC introduced. Now, some of that stuff does get introduced into the PC version for free, but you don't get all the new mechanics. You don't get a bunch of other stuff, right? Like it's DLC, right? And
no, I was just sort of curious like how much of a difference it would make. That's all.
I mean, it makes a huge, like, the mechanics, like, there was the Royal Court DLC where it's like all these things come in, you get your Royal Court if you don't buy the DLC, but then there's like a bunch of things you don't get, like events and
strange women giving out swords as a basis of government.
You can create artifacts and stuff like that. There's a lot. And I'm sure it's very difficult for Paradox to figure out what to add into the base game for free and to put specifically in the DLC. Like, a lot of it is decisions. So in the Northern Lords DLC, which is about Vikings, basically, there's like, you can make the North Sea Empire, which is a real thing that lasted like 5 years. One of the descendants of Ragnar Lothbrok, or Sigurd Snake in the Eye, which is Ragnar's son. This guy was the king of Denmark, and he became he controlled part of England, Denmark, and Norway. There's also like making the Isle of Man into like a pirate isle, which was a real thing because Vikings were basically pirates. So stuff like that,
That sounds interesting.
Okay.
Mostly because I'm playing Jurassic World Evolution 2, and I love doing these like micromanagement things. So that sounds fun.
I consider, like, the game I played the most like it previously, even though it's not exactly like it, would be Star Wars Rebellion, which is a game I loved. But that was a 1v1 game. You played as the Empire or the Rebellion.
Yes, I love that game.
This game you play as like a ruler, and then when you die, you play as your heir. And if you don't have an heir, if you run out of people in your family, your game's over.
That's neat. So you gotta, so your people gotta fuck, is what you're saying.
Yeah, go out and bang.
I mean, that's the unfortunate thing, is that the game ends up having like, well, I need to pick somebody with desirable traits, right? You start looking for people with the genius trait, or they're beautiful, or they're whatever, or they're extra strong and stuff like that. You start it's unfortunately it's like somewhat of a eugenics simulator. And inbreeding is a thing because it's a real thing that happened in real life, right? A lot of people marrying their cousins, especially rulers. It's an unfortunate side effect because the game reflects the time period that it was.
Yeah. You want to keep the power within the bloodline, right? Yeah. So I understand why you would do that. So it's interesting. Yeah,
like seducing the Pope and then revealing the secret that the Pope's gay, and then the Pope gets excommunicated and stuff like that.
This is very interesting.
This game is amazing. Anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like.
People do stream it. I probably will end up streaming it one day.
Interesting.
You should.
All good,
Eric. What's your
three things? This is not an endorsement, but I will say
we're never talking about Obi-Wan. It was a red herring.
So these are
It's fine, guys. It's fine. Just watch it. Whatever.
3 things. These are my Gamer Advantage glasses. I got them like in 2018 or something. When we were at EGX, 2019. This is not.
Yeah, I was there when you ordered them. Yes.
So I bought these. They chipped like 6 months later, and they sent me new glasses. So I was like, cool. That's really nice of them. A couple months ago, I noticed that the coating was coming off of it. So I was like, is there anything I could do? Like, I pay like something. And they're like, no, we're just going to send you new glasses. So this is already twice. Nice. They've already just sent me new glasses. And that's just fucking awesome.
You're their only customer.
It's like, no,
that's cool.
They're actually really popular. They also have these like snap-on sunglass things. So
okay, that's super cool.
I used to have snap-ons all the time, but when your glasses are this thick,
it doesn't matter. It's on the front.
8 pounds.
It's fine. It's fine. This thing is stupid light and like it.
Eric, you're talking. No, you're talking to a guy who wears glasses that
he's wearing Coke bottles right now.
Yeah, I can see through the bottom of Coke bottles.
You should try Gamer Advantage. I think you might like him.
I don't think they would make this prescription.
We're not sponsored, by the way.
Number 2. I got the fucking Tron Legacy soundtrack on vinyl. Finally,
saw that.
So where did you find that?
There's a random record company. A record store in my mall that I didn't even know. I didn't go to the other side of the mall in.
It's not Sam.
In ages.
It's not Sam the Record Man.
No, it's like 3 letters. I don't remember what it's called. Anyway, so I went there. I was just like, PVC. I might as well go into the soundtrack section and just see. I know it's not gonna be here, and I was like, fuck, it's here. I pulled it up, and the
guys, we'll actually get the name of this store
one day.
Mark, were you one of the guys that was with me in the Sam the Record Man stories?
I've been to Sam the Record Man with you. Yes.
But I mean, like after they closed down and we got the run of the place.
Oh yeah.
These are stories.
Time the Hulk fought
those were good days. Those were awesome.
Remember the Hulk fought the Abomination in front
Right
of
outside
Sam the
there.
Record Man? Those were good days.
Both in Hamilton and Toronto. It's very strange.
Well, you know, they can jump really far. So
anyway, I got that thing, and the girl said that it came in like 2 days prior, and no one had seen it. So
nice.
Final thing at Indigo, they've released this exclusive hardcover of the Sandman, book 1, and it is gorgeous.
That is pretty.
The ink inside is like the color reproduction is very nice. Like it is, it looks just like the originals. The paper is pretty heavy. It's pretty good. It's like.
So what does that collect exactly, Eric?
This is what book
Dust.
Because that's volume 1, right?
It's volume 1, but I don't know what issue this goes up to. I can't remember.
It usually says on the back. Is there nothing on the back?
Well, it could also include like some
bottom left,
some extra issues too.
Okay,
right?
here it is. Sandman 1 to 20.
Okay.
So Preludes and Nocturnes, The Dollhouse, and Dream Country.
So is that like a new like prestigious release to coincide with the TV show?
Well, it didn't say the Netflix. There was no Netflix sticker on this, which is nice. This came out on April 22nd. So I guess they're going to release more hardcovers, but this is exclusive to Indigo.
Eric, what was that going for?
Nice.
That was $40. So
it is
pretty
the
hardcover.
regular.
That's fair.
Well, you know, like, I mean, I don't have any of the Sandman comics or books, so that would be
a nice
really
set to
awesome.
start in on. Yeah.
And they're not
I feel
hard
like-
to find. They are in most Indigos. From what I was looking. So
Oh yeah,
that's
for
good.
sure.
Yeah. Because normally whenever they release these exclusive covers, you're like, oh, maybe they'll have 1 or 2. There are 20 in Guelph. 20, and it's Guelph, so you know it's everywhere else.
A lot of sleepy people in Guelph.
Yeah, a lot of sleepy people. Did you guys see the trailer for Sandman? It looks so
not
good.
watching it.
I know you don't watch trailers.
Yeah, let me know if it's good.
August.
Real quick, my friend sent me on Instagram like something for Thor, and I just went no. I watched the first trailer. That's it.
They showed
the movie.
Apparently, there's a clip online
I'm
now.
not
and I'm
watching
just like,
anything else. I
It
want
comes
to
out next
already,
week, doesn't
like,
it?
They're
Soon.
already
It's very
revealing like what the end
my
credits.
I know, they're giving away so much stuff.
Oh,
It's crazy.
Like
I
I
know.
know.
I'm just avoiding everything.
It's a weird
for it. I'm
time.
tired of it.
It's a really weird
Why?
time.
It's so early.
The annoying thing is it's not for us, but like we're the people who are like subscribed to Marvel's fucking YouTube and shit like that.
Like, do they think
Yeah,
people
it's
aren't
weird.
gonna watch it unless like
Yes.
do we really need to
Yes.
oversell Thor to
Yes.
get people in
It's
theaters?
not
I don't know what's
It's
happening
not-
anymore.
it's
I think
not
I'll
us,
lead
it's
into
people who
Obi-Wan.
aren't- It's people
don't
who
know.
aren't huge Marvel fans that they got to market to, right?
There's
Like,
weird marketing going on for sure.
There are people that are still leaving during the credits of Marvel movies, which I find hilarious.
because they don't care.
True.
They don't care. They're
That's
just there
true.
to see a movie. You know,
That's
they
fair.
just want to see a movie, just like when you would see Alien or Star Wars in '77. Like they just sat down and saw a movie. That's it.
All right.
It's not for us.
3 news items before we get into Obi-Wan. First one, first details of Netflix's TV adaptation of The Horizon, this video game franchise, has been revealed. They said that the timeline is one near or parallel to Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West. So
So
this
it's
would
probably
be
not
interesting.
about Alloy. Then it's probably like some other tribe or something.
yeah, they're trying to keep it still under wraps. I don't see them not doing Aloy, right? That would be weird.
How could you not?
Yeah,
Be
right.
safer though. Be
It's
smarter
like,
though.
Yeah,
would
but
be
it's like
smarter.
doing The Last of Us without Joel and Ellie. Like, why? What's the point?
I mean, you
bother.
could tell the
No.
story.
Really?
No.
Because I mean, like that they had like this whole established universe there before Aloy.
Yeah.
And that. So it'd be nice to kind of have a background piece on that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but what are the people who are going into that game going in for? They're going in for Aloy. Like, she's the marketed character of that game. If you don't have the marketed character in the TV show, then I don't know why the fuck you're doing it.
I
Well,
don't think
fair
they
enough,
make the
but-
TV show for the people who are fans of the game, though. I think that's a very popular product. And they
Nobody's
go, well,
doing that nobody's making stuff for who are fans of the
Well-
genre. They're making shows to bring in new fans. They're bringing shows to
Well,
bring in
fair
a
enough.
bigger audience.
This is something we're probably going to touch on when we start talking about Obi-Wan, honestly, to be honest. Because I think you can totally set a show without the main characters. But I would say
you can,
first
yes,
show
but they don't.
probably
Like-
shouldn't. But yeah, anyway.
I wouldn't mind if they did the first season as this and then broke out into the whole world. I think that would be neat.
I mean, it worked for Red versus Blue, right? They didn't. There was no
didn't decide.
Master Chief. Not that they were owned by
No.
Bungie or anything.
Also, they're filming this in Ontario. Horizon. So, Marcus, if you want
because
to,
of all of our beautiful jungles,
we do live in a hellish landscape full of robot dinosaurs. So
we have
sense.
a lot of the volume-esque film studios here now. We have a number of them in Toronto, so they're probably going to be filming them there. Yeah, that's going to be amazing. Number 2, this one's for you, Steve. Ubisoft has apparently there's a leak about Ubisoft's Skull and Bones, and it's apparently finally coming.
It's a real game.
Yeah,
when was that game announced? 1992.
I've subscribed to like the beta, like whatever for like ever. I'm like, wow, pirates, man.
So
it's crazy. It doesn't seem like a hard game to make. It's like we take what we did for Assassin's Creed 4, and then we just make it multiplayer. Assassin's Creed 4, isn't that the one that had multiplayer as well?
Yeah. You know why it's taking this long, right? It's because in 2019 they were like, "Fuck this, we're gonna make this a live service game." So it's a live service game now, Steve, as well.
Well, we knew that,
and it's gonna be released between October 2022 and March 2023. So that quarter.
I just assume Ubisoft dropped like all their properties because it was like we got to pump out as many Far Cry's and as many Assassin's Creed games as we can right now. New one every year. Like, fuck everything else. New one every year.
They have about 84 different studios in like 13 different countries, and somehow they can't.
Yeah.
Sadly, of all the gaming studios I still support, Ubisoft has unfortunately sort of dropped off. I mean, they're not the worst, they're not the most egregious. They haven't personally fucked me yet. Oh yeah, we can still say fuck. That's good.
Fuck is a good word.
Steve's like running through his list of words that he knows. He's like, that one's okay. That one's okay.
No, I caught it after.
That one's okay.
I don't even think about it. Okay, it's going to be. I'm gonna screw it up. Eric's going to have to do.
No, don't do that. I don't want to edit this.
Sorry, but no, honestly, I'm not a big Ubisoft fanboy anymore. And yeah, if it comes out, it comes out. That's fine. I actually have very low expectations for it, and yeah, they've slowed down a little bit, but I don't know. I
fully expect that game at this point to just be Watch Dogs 2 on water.
Yeah. Ooh, I would be fine with that.
That would be okay. Like they don't need
each other's boats.
Yeah.
I can't with them anymore. Like I recently sat down and tried to play Far Cry 6 again.
Far Cry 6
tried, and I just can't. I tried Valhalla.
I agree.
And
Far Cry 6 is
Valhalla's
They took the idea of sandboxes, which they definitely made me a fan of, and destroyed it. I mean, there's just at some point it's like, yes, this becomes busy work, guys.
It's why I can't play Forbidden West either. Like I was so excited, but I'm like, I just can't play it because it just makes me feel like I'm settling in for another 100-hour fetch quest game.
Their quests are at least fun. At least they're fun. And they don't feel like the same thing over and over again. Okay, other news. Let's not talk about Ubisoft, although maybe we'll talk about them in the future. I was going to talk about the new PlayStation Plus program, but only I have it right now, and I think Brent said he's going to get it. We'll talk about that.
I'm well aware of it. Like I know what's involved with it.
But you want to try the streaming stuff to actually talk about it, right? So I'll wait until you jump onto that. The last news: Maverick has passed the $1 billion mark in the global box office mark.
I have to say, like, since the restrictions have gone away, I was sort of like, I don't know if I want to go to the movie theater. But that's the one and only movie I've been just very kind of morbidly curious about, because I'm not a Top Gun fan, but
I will say,
I like that 10-minute preview.
I will say, it's better than the first one in every single way.
Well, it better be, because the first one I don't like at all. So that's
it's also a fun movie to watch.
Hold on, does anyone say you're trying to catch checks that your body can't catch, whatever the line is like? Because if they don't say that, it's a terrible movie. Hands down.
Ride my tail anytime.
I don't think so.
That was going around.
I only saw it once,
too,
so I haven't memorized it. Right.
The meme going around recently where there's a war with Russia. Top Gun is the top of the box office, and Kate Bush is number 1 on the charts. Are we back in 1986?
Back to time. Yeah,
it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. No, I am morbidly curious, and I mean genuinely, I'm not even making fun of the movie. I mean, if they hit it, like if they nailed like something that has been missing, which actually is a great segue to Obi-Wan.
I'd like to see it. I've heard it's good.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, no, it sounds like actually a fun movie. I
have no love for the original. I have no nostalgia for the original. So that's why I'm not excited.
I will say that Megan doesn't care about Top Gun, the first one, and she had a lot of fun at the movies for this one.
If I had an opinion about Top Gun either way, like either I love the movie
she doesn't
or I
care
hate
about
the movie,
first one,
I would have more of an opinion about Maverick. But I just genuinely Top Gun is just like I saw it once.
But the fact that it did cross 1 billion is newsworthy, and it is interesting because I have zero opinion about the original Top Gun as well. I saw it long after the fact, and I didn't quite get why it was such a big deal.
Considering like when the sequel was announced, how long it took to actually get to theaters and that, and it turning into Tom Cruise's biggest movie ever in his entire career,
which is crazy.
I think it's just generally impressive that you've got an actor who, like, for 4 decades now is still making like.
Tom Cruise is an interesting character for sure. Yeah. No, that's for another discussion for sure. Because
I feel like we're gonna end up having a Top Gun episode when it comes out on.
Really?
I don't know. Like, this one is a good movie. I do want to talk about.
Okay.
A Tom Cruise episode.
A Tom Cruise episode is worthwhile because,
if
what just Brent said,
it is going to be me screaming about how much I hate Tom Cruise for like 3 hours.
Yes.
Okay. Well, then you have to be.
You're switching roles with Steve.
Marcus, you and I can get my mother on. She shares your opinion. She can't stand him.
Marcus, you and I can do a Tom Cruise episode.
Okay.
Okay, this is happening, right, Eric? Okay.
Yep.
Brent's mom.
Last news.
Don't ask her about her opinions on anything else. Please don't ask her about her opinions on anything else.
Last little
Brent,
tidbit.
I love your mom.
Last little tidbit, just because I wanted to add this in before we talk about Obi-Wan, is that Warrior, the series based on Bruce Lee's writing, is going back into production next week. So we get another season soon.
Oh, that's good news.
Yeah, I couldn't end it on Tom Cruise. All right, so Obi-Wan, the series premiered on like 6 weeks ago.
May 27th.
May 27th. Oh my God, it took me forever to scroll down IMDb to get there.
Exactly a month.
Yeah, so we're here. We're going to talk about this series, which takes place between episode 3 and 4, about 10 years prior to A New Hope. So, like we do every time we talk about these reviews, we are going to do a TLDR, like a little summary of whether we liked it or not. 2 or 3 sentences. Let's start with Brent. Non-spoiler. Sorry.
Yeah, no spoilers. It was good. I'm not as big into the Star Wars shows and the Star Wars mythology and timelines as you guys are. Like, I'm a casual Star Wars viewer, and as such, it was an entertaining show.
Good.
And it related to the versions of Star Wars that I'm most familiar with, which is why it appealed to me so much to watch it.
Oh, that's a good small review. Marcus.
I loved it. I'm probably the biggest Star Wars fan here, but me
and you both. I think we're pretty
by volume.
By volume.
But like, I mean, for a couple of disappointed Star Wars moments that has happened in the past, this was a really big breath of fresh air and just made me super, super happy. There's plenty of stuff that you can probably still talk, like, could have been better or could have been worse, whatever. But like, I loved it, and I was very, very happy to see some familiar faces come back.
Yes. Steve. I was trying to pick who I was going to go, and I just went up to the top right on my screen.
Fine. Yeah, I mean, I think I try to be fair about these things. And back in the day when I was really upset about the prequels, man, I can't even remember.
He said a couple of sentences, Steve.
Sorry. But I have to say this. Back in the day when I was really angry about the prequels, I did give episode 3 a kind of nominal pass because it was the best of 3 piles of crap. And likewise, Obi-Wan is not as offensive to me as the most recent bridges between the 2 series. I think it's fine. It doesn't create huge problems. And yes, as was, it was nice to see some characters return and not completely fuck up. And so in that regard, I think it is worth watching for Star Wars fans, and we will get into more in the details. But yeah, it was fine. There you go.
Hawk.
I liked it. I think the general tone of the series seemed to be trying to appeal more to kids than to adult Star Wars fans.
Star Wars.
Yeah, obviously.
No, that's a
as opposed. We'll get into it. As
It's
opposed,
his opinion.
Go on.
as opposed to the Mandalorian, which I felt kind of sway towards like more the adult Star Wars audience watching. But at the same time, I absolutely loved how well they maintained Obi-Wan's character, and seeing Darth Vader again on the screen versus him was, probably the highlight of the month for me.
For children, Hawk. Dave.
I thoroughly enjoyed the show. I enjoyed the progression of the characters, as you would expect for certain characters. I thought there was some really silly stuff that gives me a lot of entertainment because that's a part of Star Wars. There's silly shit in Star Wars, and I like it. Yep. And holy fucking shit, that last episode, I fucking love it. I love it. I thought it was great, and it's gonna be probably one of my favorite Star Wars moments.
Mm-hmm.
It just took a lot of the things I like about Star Wars and put it into one episode.
Nice. So for Star Wars Day, I used to watch all the movies until the sequel trilogy came out, and now I watch just the things I really like. And this show, without a doubt, will actually have parts on my Star Wars Day watching, especially that last episode.
That last episode for sure.
No, that's a really nice way of framing it. Yeah.
I think this year for Star Wars Day, I mostly watch Rebels and Clone Wars.
Fair enough.
But that last battle is phenomenal. Man, it's crazy that you can have a Jedi Master that has gone off on his own and sort of, has gone into exile and cut himself off from the Force and didn't become a giant dick. To everyone. That's a Less Jedi reference to you folks out there. All right, let's jump into spoilers. I think we're just going to do like I was originally going to do like episode by episode, but I feel like everything's such an overarching story that we can just talk about the whole thing.
There's one episode that you can pretty much just kind of blanket cut out because it just was filler.
Which one?
I don't remember.
See, I have to jump in here, guys. I had to go back and rewatch the whole series because I could not remember what the fuck happened in the first 4 episodes, okay? Because you don't. The last 2 are the only episodes anybody is going to remember. I challenge you guys to tell me what exactly happened in 1 and 2.
Okay, I can tell you. I'll tell you right now.
Episode 2 was a bit filler.
All right.
Episode 2 seemed a bit filler.
Episode 2 was on Tokyo Planet. Like that, I thought that was a.
It's called.
It just kind of
okay.
Yeah, I took notes. It's Dayun. Yes,
that's fair.
Yeah. They don't track shit.
We met Kumail Nanjiani as.
I will say that I've been playing the Lego Star Wars game, and as I'm playing the sequel trilogy, there are no planets that I remember the name of except for Octo for some reason.
He likes
remember
to get
Crate,
Octo.
Red Salt Planet. Come on,
Crate, yeah, Salt Planet.
What about Korriban? Is it? It's not Korriban, is it?
Nope. I can't remember. Nope. There we go.
Who knows?
All right, let's just jump into it. So this, when they were showing trailers for everything, we're like, oh shit, this Obi-Wan, he's in exile. He's probably gonna have to deal with Luke or something. But this ended up being a story about him protecting and rescuing Princess Leia. What did you guys think about this story arc? I didn't realize this was gonna be Last of Us set in, Star Wars.
I feel like it was really a story that needed to be set up to explain why she reaches out to him at the beginning of New Hope.
Yep.
I feel like that's what the entire purpose of the series was to tell a story that explained that element of it.
Yep.
That being said, I loved it. I didn't want a show about Luke. I'm done with Luke. I've had enough of Luke.
Fair enough.
I wanted more Leia. And I gotta say, I've been discussing this with a few other people who basically are all we hate child actors. Fuck child actors. They're horrible.
Don't fuck child actors.
I absolutely loved this little girl as Leia. She was.
Yeah,
I hate how every child in a television show has to be so fucking precocious. Like, can we let a child act like a child instead of a child acting like an adult all the time? But other than that, I think she did a really fucking phenomenal job, and I loved the chemistry between her
I think
and Ewan.
The reason you don't want to see, or people don't want to show children acting as children in a television show is because kids are really fucking annoying, especially when they aren't yours.
Yeah. And most of all for her, I gotta say, like, I'm super impressed with the visual effects in the show, because the way they de-aged and realived Carrie Fisher is unbelievable.
Vivian Lyra Blair is the name of the actress.
She was really good. She might have been the best
Steve,
actor
you have a
in the
confused
series,
right?
Like,
She was phenomenal.
Yeah,
she was great.
The amount of screen time she had, like, she was consistent, right? Like,
yes.
And she was compelling whenever she was on screen, and she felt like Leia in every scene she was in.
Yeah. I thought she was
a moment of her running through the forest. I was like, I love this girl. Like, I love this character.
I thought she was a little precocious, but not to the point where I disliked her. And yes, I totally agree. She was a very even, well played character. She was good.
For those
someone who doesn't really like kids, like, genuine, like, I thought she was great.
Yeah, she was fine.
For those that
Luke was a little shit, but whatever.
Yeah, Luke.
Wow, that's
Luke.
Of course, Luke's gonna be a little shit. For those that have seen Clone Wars or Rebels,
power converters with my friend.
No, but it doesn't even make fucking sense anymore. The things he complains about. Anyway, we'll get to it.
For those that have seen Rebels and have seen younger Leia, how did she fit in? Like, did it fit? Did it seem to gel? I felt it was
like
really
there
good.
a 5-year-old Leia, or was Rebels after this?
Rebels is after
Rebels
this.
Is after
so she was a teenager. So it's about like 4 years before.
I didn't know she was in Rebels. I haven't watched the whole thing.
About 4 years before A New Hope. So we have
she's like 15-ish or so.
Still precocious. Still felt like Princess Leia. What'd you think, Hawk? I know you watched Rebels.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember that Leia and Rebels. I'm kind of blanking here.
So she's the one who stole the ships that they ended up crashing into that circle thing in Rogue One.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You didn't look. You don't look.
Leia stole ships that they crashed in Rogue One.
Yeah, she gave them to the. Oh God, why did I say resistance? To the
rebellion.
Oh my God. I'm stuck
Those
in
were
that
Hammerhead
resistance.
cruisers, weren't they? Didn't they use Hammerhead cruisers to push a Star Destroyer into the
the Hammerhead cruisers? Yeah.
Oh my God, it's been a while since I've seen that one.
That's fair. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, we do have the returning Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. So how did he feel? How did he fit back in?
Is he contractually obligated at this point to always say hello there that way?
I think everyone.
I wanted it. I will fully admit.
Yeah.
I mean, say the line, Bart. Say it.
He said it like Alec Guinness did it.
I waited the whole damn show for that. I mean, it was.
I love that. I love that they waited until the end to do it too. Like,
I thought they was going to do the first thing.
I just wonder. I'm like, at this point, was it like, did somebody come up to him and be like,
if you're not making a movie or a TV show because of memes, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, okay.
Morbius?
To be
Morbid, it is Morbid time.
I was just out of Morbid time. Fuck you, man. Okay, so I will say, in case it gets lost, a lot of Star Wars is memes, a lot of Star Wars is references, but I will say that this television series offended me less than Solo and Rogue One, in that a lot of the Easter eggs were a lot less heavy-handed, and I felt that they blended a lot better. So yeah, there were totally Easter eggs, it's totally references, and hello there was like a thing that we were all waiting, like we all knew that was going to happen.
And I love that they saved it for literally like almost the last line in the series.
And it made sense, right? And he's talking to Luke, right? Like they didn't force it in somewhere else,
Yeah.
So to me, like on that level, yeah, I mean, fan service, it was much better than other connectors.
Yeah, I liked when he said it to Dr. Cornelius and Ponda Baba, that were just randomly there. Sorry, Steve.
You're just trying to. God damn it.
He is like just a couple years younger than Alec Guinness was when he filmed A New Hope. Isn't that crazy? He looks so good. Like,
people eat and like eat better and exercise now. Like,
that is.
And people like Alec Guinness like actually went through the war.
Yeah,
and like Ewan McGregor wasn't like in Afghanistan or something. So,
that's true. What did we think of Obi-Wan's journey through the Force? Like he was sort of separated from it at the beginning.
I love
a good arc.
I love the approach. Starting him where he was in that. He's like disconnected from the Force because he's basically afraid of being found out. He's afraid
Get
of
the
like
gunslinger out of retirement, right?
Yeah, but
it
also
was
disconnecting himself to because he knew he had a job to do, protect Luke. So he disconnected any sort of attraction to the Force or that from himself. Didn't want to draw any attention, and by the end, he was the Obi-Wan we know.
We'll talk about that fight later.
I'm probably the most aggressive, when it comes to like this sort of retconning or trying to like slot stuff in. And I do feel that it made sense for him to have separated himself and to me, the story arc was they lost, right? And it wasn't even so much that he had separated himself. It was just that defeat, that had kind of broken him. So he knew he still needed to look after Luke, but he was broken, and through the journey of meeting Leia, this precocious kid, who's just sort of, all in it. And then Tala later, like these people help him regain, his focus. And I think that was a good arc. That's
for sure.
Perfect. Him a new hope.
A New Hope. Well, I don't think the Obi-Wan we meet at the beginning of the series, I don't think he would have been prepared to train Luke at all.
No. They did a really good job. Like Ewan McGregor was able to like really play a character that had gone through something, and it makes sense. Like it fits, and so I had no problems with it, and I'm glad he came back and was able to pick up the character.
At the beginning of the series, if he was to train Luke, he'd be riddled with the thoughts of I'm gonna just turn this kid into another Anakin. Whereas
and
he sees the influence that he has on Leia and how well she turns out by the end of the series, and it's like, oh, okay, like I can do this. It's not me, it's him.
But he also,
that's a really good point.
But he also realizes that they're also the product of the parents that are raising them, like throughout that adventure.
So he realizes that you have, and they made Owen, yes, but you also have your mother in you. Like,
I did see a great bit on YouTube where someone was talking about like Owen and Beru raised the Jedi. Essentially, it's like because they are like they're good people. They, obviously they're not the same as the Organa family. Like they're much poorer. They live in a much worse environment,
but they're more humble about it.
Yeah, but they're much good. They're very good people, and you kind of see that a little bit in A New Hope, where he's like, I don't know, like I love this kid, but I'm super worried that he's going to be like his dad, and the mom's like, yeah, but like maybe he has the good parts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, that's good. No, actually, like I like seeing Leia's parents in the first episode, and obviously great to see Jimmy Smith's. And it was kind of nice to see that continuity and to expand on that. And I agree with David in that you kind of get to see like the parenting approach of two different sets of parents, but they're both good, right? Like there was nothing really wrong with either, right? One is a little bit overprotective, and another one is sort of like, look, we're in this world, the Senate, it's political, but there's realities, right? And you don't have to succumb to those things, and you just have to be smarter about it, right? So it was very interesting in that they kind of like made both parents more legitimate, because honestly before this, I always thought Owen and Beru were totally illegitimate. Now I will say they kind of made them a little too heroic, but it was nice to see Owen caring so much, because you don't get that impression, right, from the movie. So it was nice to know that he, in his own way, was like, Ben, piss off, because I know what's better for the kid, because I give a shit about this kid, right? Yeah. And I know what you did with Anakin, right? And that was an interesting and, again, in-universe thing that made a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I think he thought that that Obi-Wan was more concerned about the Force aspect of Luke than the actual kid of him. So, he's the only one that's powerful enough to defeat the Emperor and Vader, so that's what we have to train, but we don't have to care about.
No, it totally makes sense. I mean, his half brother totally became Darth Vader. I mean, well, he doesn't know that, but like got involved with a lot of horrible shit. So
I mean, presumably the people of Tatooine know that like a Jedi showed up and just murdered a whole fucking village of Tusken Raiders. Which in the case of Tatooine, some people don't give a shit, right? Because they view them as raiders, and some people are like, well, that's fucked up. Somebody just came and murdered a bunch of people on the planet we live on, and then fucked off. Whoa.
So, yeah, that's fair. Well, we might as well. I don't think we might as well talk about the man himself, Hayden Christensen, returning as Darth Vader and Anakin. What did we think of that? Him coming back? Huh? No, everyone's just like,
it wasn't offensive.
Hayden Christensen,
it was fine.
Like it's yeah.
I
You
thought
got
he
to
didn't
show
fuck
that
it
he's
up.
a good actor, right? Like you got to show the part where when he's given dialogue, he can act.
Yes,
Yeah.
I thought the same thing. Like he was a good actor beforehand, and then he went into the prequels and was like, okay, I guess faster and more intense is how I have to act.
Like I was happy to see him return, and I have shit on him so many times on this podcast, not over those performances.
every other episode, I think.
Every other episode in that, but no. The scenes where we actually see him, especially that de-age version where he's having with the sparring match with Obi-Wan, great. It was wonderful.
I think when the mask gets cut in half and the I killed Anakin, I think that's probably some of the best acting he's ever done.
Dude, the smile on his face is so creepy.
Yeah.
Like you don't see Hayden Christensen. I've never seen him in a role where he's playing someone like creepy before.
Yeah.
Like, man, that was.
I wasn't as impressed with Hayden Christensen as you guys, but at the same time, like I was saying earlier, I wasn't like annoyed with him because I thought it was really good for him to come back and he embraced the character. And I wish that kind of de-aged him a little bit more, like She-Hulk.
You could see the wrinkles, yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit funny, but no, I thought it was really admirable that he came back and took the role seriously and expanded on the role. I mean, that's all I ever ask for when they do this sort of thing, not totally like fuck up a character. And yeah, unlike Rogue One and Solo, I thought this was very neutral and acceptable. So yeah, no, Hayden Christensen, I love the guy. He was in what was it, Life is a House. That was a very good movie. Watch that, But,
no, I liked him because I felt like this was a great redemption for him because I feel like he has not looked fondly on those movies back, and I think that he doesn't like the way that they went, and I think this was a great opportunity for him to kind of retroact a lot of the hatred that not only the fans had but that he had with it. Let him come back and replay the character properly, and I think it was a great redemption for him.
I'm
happy they didn't overuse him though. I'm happy that he was in it as much as he was.
I feel bad for many Star Wars actors because so many of them get shit on, and I feel like Hayden Christensen was one of those people that they're just like, you know what, fuck that guy. You got to be Anakin Skywalker, and we critique, but
what I liked the most was the relationship between Vader and Obi-Wan in this, where you could tell that he's still Anakin in there. He's still that impulsive kid who wants to do it his way and gets his ass kicked by the end. So it was almost like this was one final lesson from Obi-Wan before he becomes the Vader we know.
Almost like when I left you, I was a learner, but now I am the master.
I was like, complete. I really thought I knew everything, and you came and taught me one final thing, and it's like, oh, you're right. I am too impulsive. Let me learn how to do this right and kick everyone's ass from now on.
I also think that for people who've only seen the movies, the lightsaber dual practice in episode 5 was the first time we saw them actually as friends, like playful friends, right? Because most of the time they're so like, don't do this, Anakin. Okay, master. I'm sorry. And like, there's a lot of fighting in the prequels, and you never really get the
more of the relationship they have in the Clone Wars series. Than the movies.
He always says, "You were my brother, Anakin," but it's like, well, you really kind of just a bossy ass motherfucker to him. So
no. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I think Eric really wanted me to watch this, because I haven't watched the Clone Wars. So I am purely going from movie to movie, and this is the bridge between them. And I felt that there was a natural progression there, like, because I mean, obviously we all know they're going to fight again, right? And so it was interesting to sort of see like where this dynamic would go. And I think it was an interesting way that they managed to evolve that relationship, because it was nowhere, right, until they met again, right, a couple times.
It's kind of nice now that when you think about it, like they have like 3 duels.
Yes,
like instead of like 1 and 1, it's like no, there's an arc to them, right, where it's like Obi-Wan defeats him, and then Anakin's like, no, I'm gonna beat you this time, and he's like, I'm not gonna cut you in half, but I'll throw rocks.
Although if we get to the specifics, I will say in my notes, my drunken notes, I did say that this is the first time I've ever encountered plot fire. So hope we get to that.
Hayden Christensen actually watched all of Clone Wars to get a sense of this brotherhood between Obi-Wan and Anakin, because like he heard it from George, but he never got to experience the whole story. And all those stories were from Dave and George. So that
I
was.
think there's also some really good cut stuff from episode 3 that we've seen deleted scenes of, like where there's the whole scene where they're surrounded by droids or whatever, and then they do like their little like baseball signs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, well, like that's not something like that's something that takes immediately. That scene tells you, oh, they've worked together a lot. They understand each other. They can communicate without words, and that's totally out of the movie. So it's a whole facet of their relationship you miss that obviously you get if you do the Clone Wars and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. So another thing that this series has done is that they expanded a lot of the universe into live action that we hadn't seen before. The Inquisitors were introduced in, I know I see Steve shaking his head, in the Clone War, no, in the Rebels, as these former Jedi, or at least Force wielders, who end up hunting the remaining Jedi that are across the universe. They're also a big part of Fallen Order, the Star Wars game starring Cal Kestis. Yeah, Cal Kestis. Also, the main one in this series, number 2? 1? What's Reva's number?
Reva's sister.
Third sister? Oh my god, I can't remember. Yeah, so it's sort of like the main thing. What did you guys think of the Inquisitors being brought into life?
Before Steve goes, I did not give a shit about the Inquisitors or anything to do with their part of the storyline. Couldn't have cared less. In fact, if anything, it was just in the way of me wanting to watch more of Obi-Wan and Leia and Hayden Christensen.
I texted Marcus during the final episode. I was like, you know what? I don't really care about this Reva thing at the end.
No. Yeah, the cut that you showed me where they did the music from
episode 3.
Episode 3,
Battle of Heroes.
Yeah, that was way better because it was just a straight cut of the Vader and Obi-Wan confrontation at the end, and that's what I wanted to see. I don't want to see Reva going through, like, that was all bullshit. Like, it was pointless. We knew nothing was going to happen to Luke. We knew Rue and Owen were going to be fine, and all I thought was like, who cares? What is this? Is she like? And I understand why they're doing it. They want to set up another series with her or something, but I don't care. I want nothing. I don't give a shit about her character or her character's arc. None of it matters to me. And like, even all of the Inquisitors couldn't care less. They were a footnote. I did not care.
That's the hardest part about doing a show like this, is because you want to have that secondary storyline in there to have that like extra tension and things that are going on. But there's no stakes when we know who lives and dies. Like, we know, like, other than the minor characters we're just being introduced to, it's like, who gives a shit? Like, but we know nothing's happening to Obi-Wan. We know nothing's happening to Luke and Leia. We know nothing's happened to Owen and Beru. Like, there's no stakes.
Excuse me, Owen finally got his limp.
I like the Inquisitors a lot. I like them from the previous media, and I thought they're formidable villains. But in this medium, they just sort of didn't do anything.
No,
that's what I wanted to ask you about. Sorry, go
on. You say that, but you're not the guy who like they just like impaled or hung.
That's
or whatever,
true. They
right?
did. They did hunt 2 Jedi.
Like, oh, they didn't kill our heroes. It was like, yeah, it's not 24. They're not going to kill off like a main character.
The 5th brother just stood around a lot. He didn't even light his lightsaber. Like, why would they not run after that Jedi in the first episode?
He was waiting for Dom Toretto to show up, family and all.
I don't even know what the fuck you guys are talking about. Okay, look, I didn't watch Rebels, but my notes all through the first 3 episodes was just like, who are these like 3rd grade cartoon Saturday morning villains? Like, they talk so much smack, and
there's
everything
Starscream and Soundwave and Scorponok,
unearthed, like
Black Arachnia,
all I could think
Tarantulas.
For the first two episodes, and I'm not going to fight you guys in 3 and 4 or 5 and 6. 5 and 6 are fine, but the first 2 episodes, I was like, they paid $4 billion for this, and they couldn't hire like David Fincher or just somebody who could do this in a way that would make them actually menacing. The Inquisitors didn't need to say shit. If they had said nothing in the first episode, and just walked into that bar. Just imagine this. Like, I'm nobody, okay? I don't know fuck about writing, okay? But just imagine this, right? Me, this asshole, and it was nothing about writing. If they had walked in and everyone went, right? And they didn't make all this like, well, I had this guy and I had this guy, and oh yeah, we're gonna make the Jedi hunt themselves. What the fuck? What the fuck? No, honestly, the Inquisitors almost didn't get me past episode 2.
Don't run out of popcorn, Brent. Don't run out.
Like Reva. Oh my god. Okay, look, I don't know what's gonna happen with Reva. I know she's gonna get her own show, but she was terrible. I'm sorry. I like her backstory. Backstory's fine.
I think
but her
all worth it to watch
you. Like her like weird
Vader
struggly voice.
Beat her with one arm behind his back though. And
no,
like,
it wasn't worth it.
It's totally worth it for me.
No, it wasn't worth it.
Cool.
It wasn't worth it because this takes me to my second point. This is my second my Star Wars gripe. Why does everyone who uses a lightsaber stick it in and then pull it out very carefully so there's a perfectly cauterized wound? Just churn the fuck out of them, man. Just make sure they're fucking dead. How many people, how much of this plot would have not occurred if people had just done right? It'd be over, right? We wouldn't have gone past episode 3.
Your entire body that did that motion was off screen right there. So
Steve,
fantastic.
even more so,
nobody did that.
Their Inquisitor blades rotate, right? They could have just stuck it in and turned it on.
Yeah, exactly. Be like,
actually
3 easy pieces, right?
No.
Anyway, whatever.
The spinning is actually the dumbest thing they've ever done with a lightsaber because you can't tilt it at all. If you tilt it down, you cut yourself in half.
Yeah,
if you tilt it up,
it was cool to see Vader totally fuck that up because it was sort of like, I always thought it was kind of dumb, but I haven't actually watched Rebels, so I mean, I know it looks intimidating.
And they can fly with it.
Anyway.
Could you imagine if Steve got his way and then in the middle we're watching episode 5 and they stick it in, then all of a sudden the extra one comes out and they spin and it's just body parts and blood and gore flying everywhere.
Well,
Vader, Star Wars by way of the hokey pokey, where you stick the lightsaber in and you
Tarantino Star Wars.
Okay, guys. All right, 5th episode. I have a note here. Vader splits her lightsaber and gets 2 and beats her with 2 in hand, and he doesn't do this like he did before.
He wasn't trying to kill her.
He was just trying to break her, not kill her.
He's trying to break her so that like her Grand Inquisitor can come out and go like, hello, and then like, revenge will keep you alive long enough for you to do some bullshit and get your own television show.
Part of the show, dude.
That's what revenge is.
The best part of the show.
I have a new dream. I have a new thing of what I really want to see, and as I just want to see Steve playing the Grand Inquisitor doing that exact voice. Hello.
Yes,
I would be so much better as a Grand Inquisitor.
That is my new wish for the world.
So much. They all talk so much. So anyway, that was my main critique of the whole series. You've gotten it all right there. Okay. I hated the Inquisitors. They were just really Saturday morning cartoon, and I'm like, they could have just been intimidating. I mean, yeah, okay, when Vader shows up, why is he intimidating? He doesn't say jack shit, and he just fucking kills everybody, right?
Look at that guy.
That's all the
He hasn't said anything.
do.
You know he's going to do something cool, Marge. Just look at him. He's just standing there.
Can I just say that I love that there's Tagalog in the Twitch chat right here. Hello, Game Wandering. That's awesome. Yay, Filipino Star Wars fans. The Inquisitors, like in Rebels that we've seen so far, were such a big menace that they ended up fighting Maul in it as well, right?
Oh,
like
okay.
there was such good battles. The 5th brother, who we actually see in this series, ends up dying by Maul's hand. So like they were actually
I honestly was half of notes.
If we know anything from the Fast and the Furious, he'll be back in a few movies later.
No, I made notes and I was like, who are these assholes? I hope they're better in the cartoon because they are just ridiculous.
And in the game, they were so good too.
It's so sad because they are in the canon universe. They are a force to be reckoned with. In this series, I don't know why they're just
regular people, though.
Yeah.
But even Fallen Order, like in the video game Fallen Order, the Inquisitors are much better and like more terrifying in that game. And when they showed up in this, like exactly kind of like what Steve said, like that first show up, it's like, okay, do you know how the Jedi hunt? We hunt them and they hunt themselves. That whole spiel was just kind of like, okay,
yeah.
So and then Reva like losing her shit every 5 seconds. I'm like, what the fuck is this? What the hell? Like, it's just it's a case of like, here's how we make a character that we want everybody to like later unlikable.
Mm-hmm.
Like it didn't matter what her story arc is a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
The way she played the character or the way she was directed, I don't know which it was, but completely turned me off her. Like I don't give a shit what happens to her character.
No, it's unearned. That's all the thing. All 4 Inquisitors were unearned. That's what it is. And like I get that they're supposed to be like these characters, but it didn't come across. And like I said, they just needed to just say less and just do more. So that's it.
Yeah. So I watched all 6 today again, and like I was watching it particularly for Reva's story because when I saw it the first time, I was like, oh shit, she's that little girl. And then obviously they're going to expand on her storyline so that I can get to know her. But throughout the whole series, there was nothing that like made me attached to her at any point. Even when we talked to Obi-Wan at the end, like when they start talking about how she was there when Obi-Wan, when Anakin killed everyone and she had to hide amongst their bodies. I still didn't deal with her at that point.
Here's a question though, because none of us have survived a mass shooting as a kid in school, which is basically what Reva's character.
Know me.
Well, that's dark.
I do. Which is that's what Reva's character is. Yeah. She's a child who survived a mass shooting, and that's going to identify for a lot of people who aren't a bunch of white dudes on a podcast. Sorry, Steve. Sorry, Eric.
I just
fair enough. I still think she sucks.
Am I right?
My issue with her is like,
it's the color grading, Marcus. It's the color grading.
I really felt like
I can also have a beard.
Yeah, it's very bright in there, Mark. You're one of us today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have your dad's side right now. So my issue with her is like I think I love the idea of a character who was one of the young ones who survived and I love that. I think it was just so poorly executed to where her character was nothing more than a plot device. Where she had to think and feel act a certain way when it was convenient for pushing Obi-Wan's story forward and nothing else. They wanted us to care about a character who was there for nothing more than a plot device.
I get that all shows and all movies use plot devices, and you always have to suspend your belief to a certain degree. But when I get into rants, it's when they really screw it up, and they didn't really need to in this case. And yeah, I absolutely agree, Brent. Her story arc in principle, like what David said, it's a fine story arc. Mm-hmm. But the way they used her was just so like third grade. I don't know how else to put it. And like, what the fuck was my note on this?
What was with the whole final sequence of her going out?
Yeah, wait, why did she even go after Luke?
Even if you're not a fan of Star Wars, even if you're just a mild-mannered fan of Star Wars, nothing happens to Luke. Why the fuck are we creating this whole tense sequence she might kill him? What is she going to do? Oh my God, we know she's not going to do anything. It's a fucking pointless sequence.
I do want to add a point where people are going to like excuse it and say, oh, it's Star Wars. It's always for kids.
It's to show her redemption arc. We don't care about her redemption. We don't care about her as a character. Like
I caught myself. I didn't say the word, but dumb kids is not what we should be making shows for. You can make shows for people.
I still don't think this was for kids. I still
no. Well, this is just it, right? But I don't want anyone saying, "Oh, it's always for kids, so it doesn't matter if the characters make sense." No. That's
also, kids are very smart.
Exactly. The reason why some things stand out is they respect the kids, right? As opposed to the stuff that we're all going to forget about. And this was a case where those villains were just like pantomime, like, oh my God. All right, I got one more note. When Leia was being chased by like those, whatever you want to call them, bounty hunters.
By the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
What the hell? I didn't even, what did you say? Sorry, what did you say?
The Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, nice. I had to actually look this up because I didn't watch Power Rangers. Those fucking assholes were the bulk and skull of Star Wars now. They're running into tree branches and shit. Like, what the hell, man? Sorry.
This is what I mean when I say they say they gear it towards kids and that. It's almost like they put soft edges around certain action scenes.
That sequence,
that
sequence where she's running away from them was just fucking goofy.
Yeah, that's just like dummies.
They don't trust kids to be able to take certain like
No, they don't trust the audience. It's not even for kids. You can say it's like, oh, kids are dumb. No, they just don't know how to write worth shit.
It's terrifying when Needles is chasing you, man. Needles.
I think the Obi-Wan story aspect of the show was made for adults. It was made for us fans of Star Wars. And I think the Inquisitors were made for kids because we're worried that Darth Vader might not be scary enough for new audiences. So we have to put scary new characters in there. And we have to make toys. So we got to make them look cool for toys, and that's all the purpose that the Inquisitors served in this.
The cool thing about the Inquisitors in the cartoons and in the video games is that they were always trying to one up each other, and that they were trying to gain favor to Darth Vader. And in this, you sort of see that.
Yeah, we sort of see that. Although I thought it was the worst.
How the Sith operate, they make a lot of sense if you play the Old Republic games or if you read the books about the Sith and stuff like that. Like, they are Sith to a T. They're a bunch of self-serving idiots, and they always stumble their way until one of them ends up dying on a Jedi's blade. Happens every time.
And they all die. They will always all die in the end. But like, at least the games and like the cartoons have made it like enjoyable to watch them, and like
I don't know if they all die in the end. I think some of them do survive throughout the rebellion.
I loved the Grand Inquisitor.
My main complaint when I was in my drunken rant last week and I was typing was that, like, I don't know whether I'm actually evil in real life or not, but these assholes don't know what they're doing. If you don't like that guy, don't tell him to his face. The whole thing, the saying is, revenge is a dish best served cold. Not
that's Star Trek. You can't introduce that to this fandom.
Not he who talks smack last.
He didn't do it in Klingon.
Like, they just didn't need to fucking announce how much they hated each other. If Reva had not outright just sort of been like,
you're forgetting that hate is the fuel for the dark side. So if I can hate more than someone else,
hate is different. Being stupid. Okay, and I caught myself
Steve said at the beginning of the podcast we wouldn't get him to this point. He said, "I won't get to that point."
I think it's so good,
and we'll get him to this point.
You made popcorn, friend. I mean, I feel obligated at this point.
So regarding the chase, the Game Wanderer in Twitch said, "I think the chase scene was a real life limitation, though. Like, Leia's actress can't run that fast." More so than them trying to cater that scene for kids. For the actress.
But like, kids can't run that fast.
It's
like,
No, we can all make.
But it was goofy.
Fucking story.
He's like,
and it's not going to be
tree branch that's 6 inches off the ground, and we can't get over.
Like
that.
I said,
she got away. Foiled again.
$4 billion. They could have hired Steven Spielberg himself, and that scene.
His next counterpoint, Senor Spielbergo.
They could have hired any number of Oscar-nominated, not even winning, but nominated actors.
They could have got Ryan Johnson.
And okay, I'm gonna go get noodles. I'll be back. They could have shot that so that it wasn't for dumb kids. I caught myself again. Like, you don't need to make stuff dumb. All right, you can just make it, and it just is. Okay. But that Ryan Johnson thing, that was too far. I'm getting noodles.
Okay, go get your noodles. I'll talk.
Hold on, Brent. We need this to end at some point because I got to go to bed and go to work tomorrow.
Ryan Johnson will always work. Don't worry.
All right.
I need a T-shirt with that quote.
All right, remember it. I will design it later. Okay, so we have to talk about the path because it is a very important thing to the series. It also has a bunch of the characters that we get to know. We get to meet Haja Estri, played by Kumail Nanjiani, Tala Durith, played by Indira Varma, and then we meet O'Shea Jackson's character Roken. What do we think about this like Underground Railroad aspect to Star Wars? Like, I don't remember them ever talking about it before. So
I feel like this is the fuel for the rebellion. This is what like starts to like. This is like the rebellion is this, and from this, it's like all the little fingers and like they're starting to spread. Like, this is the start of what Leia ends up joining part of. Like, it's all of this is the catalyst.
It's like symbolically the roots of everything. Like, it started underground and blossomed up. Like, I thought where the rebellion began.
It is a wonderful little thing, and then seeing like their broken down ships that they're trying to, rebuild and repurpose for the Empire, and we get to see the snow speeders show up, which are like ships that haul garbage. I thought that was awesome. And like later on, we get to see Leia, build the rebellion even more with Ahsoka and a couple other people from Rebels. So it was a nice little tie-in to all of these things. I thought that was Really?
I think it was a nice light touch because they weren't like super heavy handed and they didn't show the rebel symbol on everything. Not the rebellion, right? I can read it as the seeds of the rebellion, and yeah, it makes sense in the in-game universe, you know. And this is sort of the stuff where I'm not super offended by the series because it didn't break anything, but I still see a lot of the potential. Where like, what's that next series with that guy from Rogue One, the Andor. My first comment on the first episode, because like it was dark, right? Inquisitors are showing up on Tatooine and just like, you know, abusing people. And I'm like, man, if they had actually made this serious, I could see Andor. But right now, if they do it like episode 1 and 2, holy fuck, that show's gonna fail. Because they took us to like a dark world, you know, where like that girl was just saying, yeah, you know what? You just do drugs, you never leave. Like there was an essence of where the Empire took the galaxy. But they still didn't quite direct it the right way. So I hope with Andor they do what I said and just like $4 billion, mofos. They could hire anybody. They could hire they could hire Scorsese for 10 minutes. Okay.
Well, okay. Do we want
Liam Neeson for 8 seconds?
Do we want to talk about Deborah Chow, because like she was the showrunner and director for most of the episodes on here?
I actually did look up. She directed all of them. I didn't actually look up anybody, so I figured you guys would defend that position more, but I don't really know her background.
Yeah, like she did a lot of great work for the Mandalorian. Like some of those episodes, she did like The Sin, which was episode 3 in season 1, which is like probably my favorite episode from that season.
Yeah, I blame the writers more than the director, frankly.
I kind of feel that, right?
Yeah.
You know, her influences were fantastic for like going back then. You know, like for you could see like bits of Yojimbo in the way she presented that episode. And that.
Yeah,
I didn't feel that a lot in this series.
Well, I feel like
direction.
There was a lot visually that she shot really well. Like, can you imagine
the final episode, the fight at the end?
Yeah. Every single bit of cinematography in that was just amazing. I loved every bit of it.
Yeah.
The last 2 landed. The first 4 were mild.
The problem is you can't just make the last 2.
Yeah,
which is what we want, but it's not what they will make.
I think the last 3 also were a lot more tighter because they ended up bringing on Andrew Stanton from Pixar to tighten up those scripts and add to it.
It's the script writing. It really is. It really is.
And he's like, what did he do?
You don't need to spell everything out, right? Like that's really my main critique. You know, like they just
he wrote like Toy Story 4, Finding Dory, Toy Story 3, WALL-E. Like he is an amazing writer. So that's definitely thing.
He knows how to hit you in the feels.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about that last episode, that last battle, because they showed a practice battle between them in the previous episode 5, and a lot of the parallels from that fight end up happening in the final battle, and there's a lot more emotion in that fight rather than that that first little dragging Obi-Wan in the fire thing we see in episode 3.
3.
Yeah, 3.
What did you guys? We have to talk about that last battle. Just go, Marcus.
It was perfect.
Okay. It was incredible. It showed me so much of what I've been dying to see in live action. For one, like seeing Vader move with like a little bit more ease and stuff. And like I remember reading a thing where Vader's costume is supposed to be a punishment. He's not supposed to have the mobility that he used to have. He's not supposed to be as nimble as he once was. But to see like Vader is supposed to be a little bit more like precise with his moves, but like this is like he was just wild enough and just like calm and centered enough to like fight. Like especially at the beginning of the fight, he feels like he's in control. He's he feels like he knows what he's doing, and he's taking Obi-Wan to the limit, and it's incredible. It's awesome. There's one moment where he spins around and he catches his cape or as a cloak or whatever in his arm and kind of uses it as momentum to swing himself around and like back with the lightsaber, and I was like, fuck, that's cool. And it's I've been waiting to see Vader do that for so goddamn long, so that was amazing. And then also finally seeing like a Jedi Master kind of get a little bit tweaked to the point of like, fuck this, rocks, Like, I have been waiting for something like that forever. I'm like, every single time, I'm like, you guys can lift shit and move through stuff and do that. Like, you telling me none of you have ever just tried to let loose and just fucking hailstorm somebody? And finally got to see it. And like, just bombarding the shit out of Vader was incredible. And then my favorite thing is, like, I knew it was happening as soon as I saw it, that lunge, that jump and lunge and going for the helmet. I've been waiting to see that moment in live action since they did it in Rebels.
Yep.
And like, I've been dying to see that for real. And I loved it. I loved the color change from when he's talking as Anakin and when he finally is just like, I killed Anakin, I am Vader, and like everything's red again, like the colors and his eye color changing. And
I love the voice change through that too, when it kept
the
slipping in
mixture
and out of
between-
his voice and Vader's voice.
He did that so well. Like that episode made up for all the shit that bothered me from the other episodes. And that's why, Steve, like, I understand what you're saying. Like, you may not have liked the first couple episodes, but Dave kind of said it perfectly. We can't just jump into that last episode. We can't just jump into those last 2 episodes. We need a story to bring us there. There were parts of the story that were fine and great. I loved Leia, loved everything about Leia and Lola, and just loved all of that stuff. Didn't give a shit about the Inquisitors. They needed to be there, I guess. We needed that part of the story. But I mean,
Really?
I like, they just kept going back to them, and I'm like, oh, fuck off with the Inquisitors already. Like, they had their moment. Like, I could have been so much happier if we were just like dealing with Vader playing a game of chase.
Someone is going to make a 3-hour cut with just the Vader stuff.
Oh, it'll be
eliminate
less
it.
than
It'll be
that,
amazing.
Yeah,
I think really the emotional part for us Star Wars fan is the Anakin and Obi-Wan relationship. So adding all of that other stuff didn't really matter, because the height of that was this battle, and it was
It could have been
gorgeous,
better.
right?
I mean, if they're going to make a Reva series,
I think the thing that made me so happy about this fight was that when George Lucas was doing the prequels, or at least before they released the first one, he always talked about how we're going to finally see the Jedi at the height of their power. This is what the Jedi Knights were supposed to be like. And I was like, okay, cool. They moved a little bit faster and they twirled their lightsaber. I was like, all right, I guess. But
yeah,
then we see Obi-Wan actually using the Force, like Marcus was saying. Like, it was awe-inspiring. Was what we wanted to see. It was like watching the Old Republic cinematics in real life, and you're just like, holy shit!
Them all, dude. They're so
Old
good.
Republic cinematics. Oh,
right?
Did you ever watch? Did you ever play what was the game with Star Killer?
Force Unleashed.
Force Unleashed.
The first Force Unleashed.
Yeah, I think so. Yes, like whichever one where he fucking pulls down a star.
That's the second one. That's the second
that's
one.
the beginning.
I
of the
actually
second
wrote that. I wrote that in my notes. I was like, when Vader started to do that with the shuttle, I was like, yeah, Star Killer, that shit. I actually wrote that.
Yeah. When we were watching it live, I was like, holy shit! It was that sequence, and
like that moment, just like boom, pulling down that ship,
and then he pulls
like,
off the outside wall, and you're like, fucking hell, this is the Force I wanted to see.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Like,
it all made up for it, baby.
I think that's like, that is what they need to kind of reassess if they're going to give us this kind of stuff. If they're like, I don't know what the future holds. If they are going to do an Obi-Wan 2 or something like that, they can't just half-ass it again after you've shown us that. So if they decide,
too bad for them. Oh shit! They've been half-assing it the whole time, and they actually accidentally made something that was kind of cool.
It's interesting because when we watch Rebels later, we know that Obi-Wan is still on Tatooine watching over Luke from a distance. Well, so I would like to see what season 2 would do.
I really want to see the Obi-Wan Darth Maul end. You know?
Yeah, that's an amazing.
I genuinely want to see them go, Mr. Parks.
Yeah,
Mr. McGregor, please remake the scene from the cartoon for us.
That's the thing. They have to do it like cut for cut, scene for scene. They have to do the same fucking scene. Otherwise, it'll be awful.
If Kathleen Kennedy completes her process of fucking with Star Wars, they're going to have to. That's the only way that will save Star Wars at this point, is to actually bring Parks out of retirement and do that.
They did. Scene. He was in Han Solo.
But they fucked up Solo.
Also, did he not do the mocap for Rebels when the
he did it for the
he did it
Ahsoka.
for real already.
Yes.
Yeah, he did it for real already.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you, Marcus. Like, here's the thing, right? Like, my reason for being pissed off all the time is they don't pay attention to the details. And when you talk about like how like the stances and like, I'm with you, right? Like, that's not just us imagining it. It's in canon, it's in character, and that fight was perfect.
Yeah.
So I don't. Go ahead, Eric.
Like, if we look at Dave's screen, we see Obi-Wan doing the high stance, right? The actual Form 3 for actual attacks, right? Like when we see him in episode 3 face off against Darth Vader, and you can see him like with a lower defensive stance. Like these are all in canon things that are done.
It made sense,
and they made sense. Dude, and seeing lightsaber,
you could switch.
Oh my god,
style in Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy.
I remember.
You could choose your fighting style.
You guys are nerding out way beyond what the scope of what I'm
best.
The 7 styles, right?
Everything else that sucks didn't give a shit. And what we're talking about now does.
Yeah.
That's my whole point.
But it's
That's my whole point.
But it's like poetry. It rhymes.
I also loved. I really loved the fact, like, in this fight, they also finally exposed like something that I've been kind of thinking about forever. I'm like, he needs that suit to kind of live.
Yeah,
it's an iron lung, right?
Yeah, just like fucking attack the suit, and like Obi-Wan just fucking bashing it with his hilt. That like, or like whatever.
Didn't even slash it until later.
Also,
shit,
something I've noticed
awesome.
about Vader is, weirdly enough, even though he's not as dexterous as other fighters, he's more dangerous in open terrain. Because the way he swings, he's always bouncing off. You see, like against Luke gets him in a tight space in Empire, and that's where Luke like actually kind of does some damage against him. And every time Obi-Wan gets him in a tight space, and just like that's when he gets to work his magic and actually like break the respirator. Something like that.
But that's also like one of the original influences for Darth Vader. Was like they wanted his fighting style to be a little bit more like a samurai. Like he hits once, and it's so hard and it's so good. It's true that's how he wins. And so I feel like that's kind of complementary to that idea. Like, out in the open, like if he has this wide open view in front of him and he knows what he can do, 1 or 2 good shots and Vader's gonna kick your ass. But you make him feel cramped and like he can't move and he has to watch his surroundings, then you're gonna get a better shot of dealing some damage.
God, so good.
Yeah.
I will say that this series has definitely fixed a lot of the issues I had with the prequels. And some of the things sort of connecting to the sequels too.
It's kind of weird that way. Like after watching this series, I was like, maybe I will watch Revenge of the Sith again. Like,
I don't mind Revenge of the Sith.
Look, dudes, I used to shit on Revenge. I used to shit on the prequels like so much, and then the sequels happened, and I'm like, oh my god, I didn't know how good it was, because like I don't like the sequel. I mean the prequels in that I feel like it was very limited in scope. The love story is not very good. There's only 6 planets and 3 bloodlines. The acting, the script wasn't so hot. And my biggest disappointment was the potential wasn't there, but at least they didn't totally fuck it up, right? So yeah, no, I agree. Look, no, that's the thing. This show, I haven't watched. I know, this is again the reason why Eric wanted me to watch this. I haven't really watched Mandalorian. I only watched 1 episode, and I have nothing against it. I like that episode. Look, I got issues, man. It's got nothing to do with Star Wars, okay? I just can't deal with shows, all right? I liked it. And that's what Candor needs to be, right? It needs to be a serious show set in a serious time, right? Not for dumb kids.
Yeah,
okay?
On that note, like I actually think, because like Andor is the perfect example of a show that they can do that. They can take their first steps into being a serious dark show, because his life is supposed to be nothing but awfulness.
It's like watching. It's like watching Tinker Tailor Sailor Spy, but in Star Wars.
Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, Eric.
Tinker Tailor
Soldier Spy.
Soldiers.
Fair enough. No. Fair enough. No, it's
Spy.
Like the MCU. It's like the MCU. Some shows can be more for the general public, and some shows can be more whatever experimental. I get that. No, it's fair. But my main issue with the prequels is that it was really like I thought there was going to be a lot more depth to it, and it was a lot more shallow than I personally wanted, and that's my own issue with it. But no, I agree. Sorry, go ahead, Eric.
There is one thing I do want to talk about, because I know this is a big debate on the internet, and it's the end of the Obi-Wan Darth Vader fight where he doesn't end up killing them, which I think makes sense as a fan. What did you guys think? Yeah.
I'm with it.
I felt it was part the Jedi Code, and it was part it's like one last "you were my friend. This is for Anakin, not for you. That I will spare you."
But it's also
fucked up.
But it's also the kind of thing where, like, in his mind, he's like, I beat you. I've beaten you successfully now. And it's like, you now know where your place is. And I feel like he, as a Jedi, he thinks, oh, I can leave it at that. Of course, that's not how it works out.
He's the fucking chosen one.
You
That
know,
beat my
get out of here. I'm
Obi-Wan.
going to go build a planet.
I still think
I'll show you.
A big moon.
I do still think that he believes that Darth Vader has a play in that balance of the Force. But also, as a Jedi, he disarmed him.
Down.
Like he couldn't kill him in cold blood. He would have become like Darth Vader, just like that, right?
No, I have continuity problems more so than you guys do. I don't know whether we'll get to them, but that wasn't one of them. I thought that because he'd been beaten by Vader in an earlier episode, right? Like 4 or 5, I can't remember. The one with the plot fire, right?
Yeah,
three plot fire, 3, yeah. And the arc, the point of the series, we got to look at the bigger picture. Is Obi-Wan's return to understanding who he is, right? Because he's lost at the beginning, right?
Yeah,
and I mean, facing his friend, facing his own failure. Was it his failure? And defeating Vader, that's all he needs to do, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't need to kill Vader, right? So to me, I'm super spicy about all this stuff, but no, it's consistent. It makes sense. And we know he has to live, but they didn't force it.
And he also calls him Darth at the he'd always call him Anakin.
So
he knows that Anakin's son.
I love that he calls him Darth because that's the title, right? He understands he's calling him a title. He doesn't call him Vader. Because he probably doesn't want to. He's I'm not going to call you fucking Vader.
Count. Yeah. No, they count. No, that's the thing. Like I said, that fight, that whole last episode with that fight and interaction was very well thought out and very much like what the characters deserved. Mm-hmm. So I was fine with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Any final thoughts, Hawk?
My closing. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go for it.
My closing statement would just be that, all of Star Wars, the best parts are amazing. And there's plenty of stuff that you could just throw in the trash.
Yeah, that's true. Hawk, you were saying something? Sorry.
Yeah, got to reiterate what Dave says. I'm there for those really awesome parts in that, and there's fluff in that attached to it, and fine. I'll just wade through it till I get to what I want.
Yeah. Steve, anything to say at the end?
So many afterthought notes. I'm not gonna skip them all. The only
just stick them in your fucking manifesto, dude.
I got all these weird things that have occurred because of this series, but whatever. I mean, look, you know what? I'm not as forgiving as you guys, but this, like I said at the very beginning, the series didn't fuck up Star Wars for me everything else so far. Not having seen Mandalorian, not having seen Boba Fett.
Steve,
everything
I haven't
else
seen either,
Steve,
so I'm in the same boat as you.
Everything else they put out has pissed me off, and this didn't piss me off.
This attached with everything else. Did you have fun watching this series?
Yeah, it was fine. It was
good.
fine.
That's
the first couple episodes were super painful because the Inquisitors were unbearable. They were unbearable for me, but I weathered through. And it ended well. But yeah, I mean, that doesn't save it for me. I'm glad it saves it for you. That's fine. But like I said, it doesn't offend me as much as Rogue One, which I also say is something that every Star Wars fan should watch. I'm not saying it's garbage, right? It's got good elements, right? And likewise, this one does too. So this was okay.
It's not pride, it's less shame.
Marcus, any final thoughts on the series?
I mean, I loved it.
Dude.
I really loved it just to get me to that last episode, really. And also, I love the Qui-Gon showing up at the end.
Oh yeah,
there.
we didn't even talk about that.
Loved that. I also loved the Vader at the end when he's walking away from him. His yell of Obi-Wan was so awesome, and I think it outdoes the Darth Maul, Obi-Wan. Yeah, it just it dethroned that Obi-Wan for me, and I was like, ooh, I got a new champion here.
Vader says Obi-Wan, Maul says Kenobi.
Oh, Kenobi,
that's right,
yeah.
yeah,
he
So
does.
you can stick them together.
He's put them together and make Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That's sweet. We need to do that right now, guys.
Yeah. Eric,
It's already on
that's
YouTube.
happening.
Yeah,
It's already on YouTube.
Brent, final thoughts?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, like I'm someone who hasn't been able to get into. I have not finished the sequel trilogy still.
That's fine.
I haven't watched anything beyond the first couple episodes of Mandalorian season 1. I haven't watched anything but the first episode of Boba Fett. This was the first Star Wars series that actually like pulled me in and made me watch the whole thing because it related to the Star Wars that I grew up with and know and love. I'm interested to see where a second season would go. I kind of don't think it's going to get one.
I
don't think they should.
Not because it's non-deserved or no demand, but I just don't know whether or not they want to tell another story with him.
Ewan McGregor wants to.
But if they do, I'm very curious to know what it is. I'm more curious to know what the fuck was said about me in Tagalog in the chat.
He just said that you brought him here because he's Filipino and like Star Wars.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so that's basically the.
I did tell him to come and talk to you in Tagalog.
Yeah. So it was nice. I was looking down. I was like, "What the fuck, Tagalog?" Yeah. So I really like this series. It's
Hawk. You missed Hawk.
Hawk. Did I? No, I talked to Hawk.
No, I
didn't say anything.
I spoke after Dave.
Yeah, I talked over Hawk, and then Hawk went.
Oh, okay, sorry. I'm drunk AF, guys.
No, it's all good. I really like this series. I think this is more rewatchable for me right now than The Mandalorian. So I will definitely watch this again. They're not that long episodes. They're like 40 minutes, 40 minutes. So it's a quick one.
They were like an hour, and then they started shortening.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure I was going to be able to get through them today because I didn't really start until like 6 o'clock. I was like, shit, I got 4 episodes.
Yeah, when you hit the last one, when you hit the last one, I was like, oh, yeah, he's going to make it. It's only 45 minutes. So
I didn't realize that starting in episode 4, they went down to like half an hour. So
yeah,
I'm going to be fine.
Yeah.
Sorry, Marcus, you were saying?
Yeah, I don't remember.
That's okay. I really like this. It's definitely gonna go on my Star Wars Day watch list.
Nice.
I'm looking forward to seeing Hayden Christensen show up again in Ahsoka, like after his performance in here. So I don't know what they're gonna do with him there. I assume it's gonna be some sort of flashbacks to him being Anakin and being her teacher or something like that, or maybe Force Ghost. I don't know. They do have him as a younger Force Ghost now that George Lucas did that. I like that the Emperor at the end was like, Darth Vader, get your shit together. You don't need to care about Obi-Wan. And I thought that was really a nice little thing at the end of there.
Yeah, that was
kind of funny. He really did fuck up because even like the Grand Inquisitor's like, we have. This is one thing I did look up. Sorry, guys. Every Star Destroyer.
Final thoughts.
Every Star Destroyer has 48 TIE fighters as standard, not including bombers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how hard would it have been to send 24 fighters after
Watch
burgeoning
that
rebels?
scene again, and watch the Inquisitor's face in the background. He goes,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The Grand Inquisitor knows what he's doing. He absolutely knows what he's doing. Like, I'm not saying he's incompetent in that scene. He's like, yeah, shit, I don't want to get strangled. But like, holy crap, they could have just sent a few fighters after those guys.
Right.
I mean,
you know what they could have also done? Hired Jason Isaacs to play the Grand Inquisitor again, and they should have done that.
Not that Reuben Friend was bad.
No.
Not that he was bad at all. He did an excellent job.
Hello.
Hello. But that being said, I'm glad that most of us I think we all pretty much enjoyed the series, and I think that's the best thing about it. Like, we're all
more
Star
on the
Wars
positive and the negative end.
Yeah,
yes.
we're all Star Wars fans at various ranges.
I think we all agree the best parts outweigh the worst parts.
Exactly.
It seems that way.
100%.
Unlike episode 2.
Yeah. And they also expanded the universe in a good way, which I think, and connected parts that were very well done. I don't know what we're going to talk about next, but we have Stranger Things Part 2.
Yeah, are we not doing Stranger Things next Monday?
We have Umbrella Academy that's also there. Jesus.
I'm going to want to talk about some Stranger Things, and I'm going to want to talk about some Cuphead DLC.
Then there's also Thor. Thor's coming out in like a week. So
Thor comes out this weekend, actually.
Is it this? I thought it was next weekend, the 8th or 9th.
The premiere just happened like yesterday. Or 2 days before.
They usually do 2 weeks between the world premiere and the
I'm chancing, and I'm Googling Thor Love and Thunder. It says July 7th. Okay,
yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so the following week.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Dave, Hawk,
Thanks, guys.
Steve, Marcus. Brent, for coming and talking about Star Wars. We have been on for 2 hours, so we're done. Have a good night, everyone. We will see you guys soon. Goodbye.
Make a Darth Bane show.
Hello.
Well, that's it for us this week on Geeks with Kids. If you want to get a hold of us, you can send us an email at podcast@geekswithkids.ca. And don't forget to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/geekswithkids. Follow us on Twitter at geekswithkidscn. Check out our pics on Instagram at geekswithkids. And you can find all of this good stuff on our website at www.geekswithkids.ca. So if you like what you hear, why don't you hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. This podcast can be found on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube, and your favorite podcasting app. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.